Chapter 913. At 9 o'clock in the morning, Mu Qiqi and the Shen family arrived at the hotel together. Sheng Xiao still had to go to Zhongting for a meeting first. After the meeting, he would come over directly. Grandpa chat with Grandpa Lin later. Don't let him get tired because of us. Before Mu Qiqi and Huang Yu entered, she reminded Old Master Shen, afraid that he would forget. Old Master Shen knew the seriousness of the matter, so when he entered the hotel to see his old friend, he pulled Old Master Lin to the side. Old Lin, I'll take a minute of your time. It's also our Shen family who let you down and caused this disaster. I hope you won't blame that girl from the Lu family. She's really wronged. Old Master Lin glanced at Old Master Shen. You're also here to speak on behalf of the child. What do you mean by speaking on behalf of the child? I don't want the Shen family's old grudges to implicate the children and grandchildren, especially since you have nothing to do with this matter. If your grandson and that girl from the Lu family are really ruined because of this matter, your old friend won't have the face to see you for the rest of his life. All right, I know what I'm doing. Come in and have a seat, Old Master Lin said. Old Master Shen sighed. He did not know how many people the Song family was going to implicate. No matter what, he would deal with it. Mu Qiqi quickly found Lu Qianqian and Lin Muan. Thinking of how she had slipped away last night, she walked over guiltily. Fairy, I'm sorry. I didn't accompany you for the whole night last night. Forget it. Who asked you to be pregnant? If you really came out with dark circles under your eyes, because you couldn't sleep, I might be punished by your president today. Lu Qianqian reached out and hugged Mu Qiqi. You're so beautiful. Of course. Lu Qianqian winked at her. It was such a good day, but because of the Song family, the mood was ruined. Mu Qiqi felt very angry just thinking about it. As time passed, there were more and more guests. Mu Qiqi was pregnant, so it was not good for her to stand all the time. So, she sat on the chair and waited for Master Xiao to come over. It was getting closer and closer to the engagement ceremony. She did not know what the Song family was planning. At 11 in the morning, Sheng Xiao finished his work and drove from Zhongting to the hotel. But when he arrived, there were many guests, so he had to greet them. Mu Qiqi looked at her man in the crowd, and also paid attention to whether that Song trash would appear. Of course, subconsciously, she felt that Song trash did not have the guts. Moments later, Sheng Xiao returned to Mu Qiqi's side. Seeing her fidgeting, he held her hand in his palm. Don't worry. Look at Qianqian and Lin Muan. They are so happy, but the happier they are, the more guilty I feel. Mu Qiqi looked at the newlyweds in the crowd. If it were not for those conspiracies, Qianqian would be the happiest bride-to-be in the world today. It's useless to worry. What will come will come. Looking at the time, it was almost 12 o'clock. Mu Qiqi quickly perked up. You're right. What will come, but we'll also give Song Boji a counterattack. Xiao, I'll use this occasion to express our Shen family's attitude. Otherwise, that trash from the Song family will think that we're spoiling him. Sheng Xiao held Mu Qiqi's palm and did not say anything. Not far away, at the end of the floral carpet was the MC of the engagement ceremony. He was preparing for the opening ceremony. Distinguished guests, please take your seats. Our engagement ceremony is about to begin. The guests quickly sat down on the white chairs. There were hundreds of guests, all neatly arranged. Almost all of them were Jinchuan's distinguished guests. Now let's welcome our newlyweds onto the stage. Hearing this, Mu Qiqi temporarily let down her guard and turned to look at Lu Qianqian holding Lin Muan's hand as they walked onto the floral carpet. At this moment, all the bright lights in the world shone on the two of them, making them especially dazzling. More importantly, they looked at each other affectionately and firmly. Soon, the two of them walked to the MC. Then, the newlyweds turned to face the guests, and their fingers were tightly intertwined. Lin Muan held Lu Qianqian's hand and took the microphone from the MC's hand. Of course, he was a little nervous in front of so many guests. Thank you, distinguished guests, for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend my engagement banquet in Qianqian's and witness our engagement ceremony. Before the ceremony begins, I have a few words to say to my fiancé and my family. After saying that, Lin Muan turned to look at Lu Qianqian and said, It's okay. I'll be here in the future. Then, he looked in the direction of Grandpa Lin and Auntie Lin and said, "Please believe me. I will become a better person for you." His words contained 2 layers of meaning, and Old Master Lin immediately understood what he was trying to say. Although he still had doubts in his heart, he had to admit that Lin Mu and had grown up after putting on his formal attire. He was no longer the young master of the Lin family. He was now a student of the police academy and was about to graduate to become a police officer. And this maturity was brought to him by Lu Qianqian. What about you, bride-to-be? Do you have anything in your heart that you want to tell your partner or your family? The MC asked Lu Qianqian. I believe in him. Lu Qianqian only said 4 words. The MC nodded, but he saw that the hand that was aimed at the newlyweds had quietly tightened. All right, in that case, let's begin the engagement ceremony now. People who loved each other could see the deep love they had for each other at a glance. The entire engagement ceremony was carried out in a warm and loving atmosphere. What surprised Mu Qiqi was that the Song family did not cause trouble at the ceremony. Perhaps that scumbag Song Qiaoji had found his conscience? Seeing that Lu Qianqian and Lin Mu had exchanged engagement rings, the MC invited old Lin to go on stage to give his blessings to his grandson and granddaughter-in-law. Old Lin stood up from the first row of seats and was about to walk to the stage when a guest noticed a huge poster on a ship not far away. The photo on the poster was the indecent photo of Lu Qianqian taken by the wedding dress shop's assistant. There were 6 or 7 ships, and they were all heading in the direction of the lawn. Was this the so-called evidence that the man surnamed Song was talking about? Old Lin's expression could no longer be described as gloomy. He almost lost his balance. It was Aunt Lin who immediately reached out to support him. If this was the so-called trouble that Lin Mu and was talking about, then this trouble was indeed the weight of an atomic bomb. What's that? Chapter 9:14. Lu Qianqian and Lin Mu turned toward the commotion and saw the huge poster behind them. In an instant, Lu Qianqian's face turned pale. Although the assistant had told her that the photos were not so shameful and ambiguous, and that she had only found a good angle to take them, when they were zoomed in, they looked so unrestrained. No wonder old Lin's face turned like that. Who's playing? The MC immediately tried to smooth things over and signaled the hotel's security guards. Didn't they know how to deal with it when they saw the boat approaching? The guests looked at Lu Qianqian's posters and pointed at them. It was because everyone knew that Lu Qianqian had a miscarriage for another man in the past. They thought that she and the young master of the Lin family had a true relationship and had changed. They did not expect her to be so reckless. The scene suddenly became a little out of control. Most of the guests were watching the 2 families make a fool of themselves. At that moment, Mu Qiqi could not stand it anymore. She was about to get up, but the man beside her stopped her. Don't be anxious. Old Lin's face has changed. You can't make such a big joke. Calm down. Mu Qiqi held back her impulse and looked at Lu Qianqian. At that moment, Mama Lu stood up from the first row of the guest seats and walked in front of Lin Mu and then Lu Qianqian. Then she turned to face the guests. She bowed deeply and then said to the MC, "Can you send someone to take down all the photos on the ship? At the same time, find out who sent these gifts, so that I can return the gifts in the future." The MC was stunned when he heard Mama Lu's words. He did not expect her to react like that. When a woman was released with such photos, her first reaction was not to cover up or keep the peace, but to confront it head-on. Lu Qianqian looked at her mother, and her eyes suddenly turned red. My daughter indeed had the misfortune of knowing a scumbag in the past. However, that's all in the past. Now my daughter is innocent and upright. Since someone has sent a gift over, we can figure out what exactly is going on. My husband passed away early, and it's true that there's no man in the Lu family. But as a mother, I'm still around. As long as I'm around, I won't allow anyone to bully or humiliate my daughter. So today, I will clarify everything in front of Elder Lin. It was said that a mother was strong. Lu Qianqian's eyes reddened when she saw her mother standing up for her. Old Master Lin's expression also softened. This is a man who understands the big picture. Mommy, there are men in the Lu family. No matter what, I believe in Qianqian. Lin Muan immediately held their hands, expressing his stance. Things were really strange. It was obvious that the bride-to-be had been exposed in such a photo, but the Lin family was not angry at all. Soon, the MC returned to everyone with the posters and told Mama Lu, "Madam, the captain doesn't know where these posters came from. He only knows that someone said they were going to give them to Miss Lu for her engagement, so that she wouldn't forget the kindness of the past. You don't even dare to show your face. How can you talk about past favors?" Mama Lu sneered. It was precisely because the other party refused to show up that there was no one to confront him. Who is the person who sent the photos? Yeah, what's going on? At this point, the Shun family had to step forward. Otherwise, it would be impossible to explain things clearly. Therefore, Mu Qiqi stood up from the guest seats and said loudly, "Now, it's time to call the CEO of the Yashang Group." Everyone was even more puzzled when they saw Mu Qiqi step forward. What did this have to do with the CEO of the Yashang Group? Mu Qiqi walked in front of Lu Qianqian and looked at her firmly. "With us here, we won't let you suffer." Everyone must be very confused. What does this matter have to do with the CEO of the Yashang Group? It has a lot to do with it. After saying that, Mu Qiqi looked at Sheng Xiao. Master Xiao remained calm and gave Su Che, who was waiting at the door, a look. Then, Su Che led his people onto the floral carpet. She was the assistant of the wedding dress store manager. She lowered her head guiltily when she saw such a big scene. "Xiao He, why don't you tell everyone where these photos came from?" These photos? Raise your head and tell everyone loudly." Mu Qiqi's voice was sonorous and powerful. She did not have her usual cheeky smile. The assistant quickly raised her head and explained, "I secretly took these photos of Miss Lu when she fainted while trying on the dress in our store. At that time, she was in the changing room of the wedding dress store. Miss Lu didn't know anything when she fainted." "Why did Qianqian faint for no reason?" Mu Qiqi continued to ask. Because someone drugged Miss Lu. Someone wanted to frame Miss Lu, so that she and Mr. Lin couldn't get engaged." "Very well, I'll call the police." The assistant was stunned when she heard that Mu Qiqi was going to call the police. "You said that as long as I clarify things, you won't call the police. When did I promise you that? You didn't keep your promise. You hurt my best friend. You caused her to be unable to be happy on her engagement today. Do you know that you might ruin someone's life by helping the wicked? You're talking to me about promises? Have some shame." Sheng Xiao looked at Mu Qiqi from below the stage. When he heard her angry roar, he knew that she was really angry. "You have to pay the price for doing something wrong. Of course, you're just taking photos. Su Che, bring the next witness." Then, Su Che brought the secretary of the Lu Corporation out. No one paid attention to the assistant's mood. Looking at the young man in front of her who was timid, Mu Qiqi was even angrier. "Let me introduce him to everyone. This person is the secretary of the Lu Corporation. For money, he betrayed his company and his boss. What exactly happened? Tell me the whole story." I was just blinded by greed and accepted money from the Yashang Group. I was only responsible for giving them Miss Lu's whereabouts. I'm innocent. It was the other party who wanted to take indecent photos of Miss Lu. It was the other party. The secretary was very smart. She avoided the most serious part and pushed the blame to the Yashang Group. "You just didn't mention that you drugged Qianqian, right?" Mu Qiqi asked. "I'll take it that you tacitly agreed. So, now that the whole thing is connected, the people from the Yashang Group want to ruin Qianqian and Lin Muan's engagement. So they used all sorts of means to make everyone think that Qianqian is messing around outside and acting recklessly. But why did the people from the Yashang Group do this?" Mu Qiqi turned her gaze to Old Master Lin. Chapter 9:15. Old Lin received Mu Qiqi's signal. Then, he pushed his daughter away and walked from the guest seat to the white carpet. At this moment, Old Lin's attitude was very important. "I'm truly sorry, everyone. Today I, Lin, have lost face here. A perfectly good engagement ceremony has been ruined. I apologize on behalf of my grandson and granddaughter-in-law." Mu Qiqi heaved a sigh of relief when she heard the word granddaughter-in-law. because it meant that old Lin had acknowledged Lu Qianqian. Actually, a few days ago, the president of the Yashang Group, Mr. Song, hinted to me many times in the open and in the dark. He wanted me to misunderstand that my granddaughter-in-law, Lu Qianqian, has an unclear relationship with another man. Actually, I've been wanting to ask him this for a long time. Who do you think you are? Is it your turn to meddle in my family's affairs? If you have the ability, come out and snatch the bride right in front of me. I'll respect you as a man. I, Lin, have spent my entire life in the military. I've never been one to engage in crooked ways. What I understand is that this Mr. Song likes my granddaughter-in-law, but he can't get her. That's why he wants to cause trouble at my granddaughter-in-law and grandson's engagement banquet. If you really like it, you can fight for it openly with my grandson. Hiding behind the scenes and doing such shady things is really despicable. What photos? Miss Shen has already clarified for my granddaughter-in-law. I hope that everyone will not misunderstand my granddaughter-in-law's character. I only hope that Mr. Song can respect himself and pursue women to such an extent. It can be seen how dirty and dark the corporate culture of the Yashang Group is. Since today is my grandson and granddaughter-in-law's engagement banquet, as a grandfather, I also hope that they can always work hand in hand in the future without fear of any difficulties. Especially against those jackals, wolves, tigers, and leopards, there's no need to be polite. Lu Qianqian looked at old Lin, Mama Lu, and Mu Qiqi who were standing in front of her. She could not hold back her tears anymore. She could understand her mommy and Qiqi, but she did not expect Grandpa Sheng to be completely on her side and trust her. Seeing that her eyes were red, Lin Muan smiled. Are you silly? You're the silly one. I'm just touched. I really didn't expect that your grandfather. I didn't expect that either. So he thought of what his aunt had said last night. Don't underestimate Grandpa. Indeed, he did not dare to underestimate him in the future. What happened just now? I hope that everyone will treat it as a small interlude and let it go. I believe that young people will cherish their relationships more when they experience storms. A sumptuous lunch awaits everyone. I hope everyone can enjoy it to the fullest. Now, everyone knew that Song Buozhi from Yashang Group liked the young lady of the Lu family. He couldn't get what he wanted and did despicable things, because there were many big shots in Jinshuan present, as well as rich people involved in education and finance. After hearing about these things, how could they still cooperate with Song Buozhi? Because the old man was right. A leader represented the corporate culture. If Song Buozhi was such a despicable person, then they would not be willing to cooperate with such a leader. No, he was not worthy of being a human at all. This was old Master Song's original intention. He wanted everyone to think that Song Buozhi didn't want to bring up the grudge between the Shin family and the Song family. It wouldn't be good for anyone. Then the guests went to the luncheon restaurant one after another. At this time, Lu Qianqian gently hugged Mu Qiqi and Mama Lu and walked to old Master Lin. Grandpa, I'm sorry. Also thank you. It's not your fault, Old Master Lin replied. Old Master Lin replied. Although I did suspect you, deep in my heart, I was more willing to trust you. You and that brat have also gone through so many hardships. It's all thanks to you that he's so mature now. I believe that only a positive person can make a person positive and brave. So don't be afraid in the future. If there's anything, explain it to Grandpa. Grandpa will definitely believe you. Yes, I just feel that I've embarrassed you. How am I embarrassing? Isn't the one who's embarrassing himself that scum? Old Master Lin's expression softened and he smiled. Grandpa's move to divert trouble isn't bad, right? You're going to scare me to death. Old Master Shin walked over and patted his old friend on the shoulder. I was almost afraid that you wouldn't be able to hold on and fall. It's all because of the Shin family. We've been friends for decades. Why are you still talking about this? The grudge between the Shen family and the Song family shouldn't be put on the table. If there's any debt, we can settle it slowly in the future. The two old men chatted and laughed as they headed to the luncheon hall together. Seeing this, Mama Lu heaved a sigh of relief. You'll be lucky in the future. Let's go and thank the guests. Mommy, you're like a giant today. You don't have a father, but Mommy can't be bullied by you. Mama Lu stroked Lu Qianqian's hair. Silly child, Xiaoqi is still angry at you when she's pregnant. I know you all love me. Let's go. Lin Muan hugged the two of them, one on each side. Today's a perfect day. On the stage, Sheng Xiao went over and hugged his thing. However, he felt that there was something wrong with her expression. Master Xiao, I haven't vented my anger because I didn't humiliate that scum in front of him. I'll give you this chance, Sheng Xiao answered without thinking. But you have to listen to me for 2 days. Are you serious? Mu Qiqi's eyes immediately lit up. In 2 days, there will be an education lecture at Yashang Group. Song Buoji will be attending the lecture to talk about his entrepreneurial history. He's trash. He's not upright. Yet he's still doing education. I feel ashamed for him. Mu Qiqi snorted coldly. Then get me a ticket. I'm going to settle the score. Today, this thing doesn't dare to show up personally. He only knows how to play dirty tricks behind my back. I'm going to face him head on. Don't go overboard. Sheng Xiao pinched her nose and instructed her. But his eyes were filled with affection. If he didn't let her vent, wouldn't that be harmful to the pregnant woman's body and mind? Moreover, he had already let the Song family be arrogant for long enough. Su Che sent the 2 accomplices to the police station. As for the media, because they had signed a confidentiality agreement, they would not report on a large scale what happened at the banquet today. They would only publish photos of the newlyweds hugging each other happily. The old master wasn't really embarrassed. In short, the main goal today was to completely pull the Lu and Lin families out of the quagmire of the Song and Shin families. Old Master Lin's words could be considered to have achieved his goal. He had saved the face of the Lin and Lu families. But did he think that it was over? Mu Qiqi secretly remembered it in her heart. Song scum, just you wait. In 2 days, I'll let you enjoy the same treatment as Qianqian today. Chapter 916. The following luncheon went very smoothly. There was a ball in the afternoon, and the guests were overflowing with excitement. They had already found their own dance partners. Lu Qianqian changed into her attire and shuttled between the guests with Lin Muan. However, one could tell from the smile on her face that although she was exhausted, the corners of her eyes were brimming with happiness. Mu Qiqi was very glad that scumbag Song's plan did not succeed today. If there was a slight deviation, she could imagine what kind of tragedy would happen today. Perhaps sensing her lingering fear, Sheng Xiao held her hand and said softly, "It's all in the past. There's no need to think too much. If he dares to cause trouble for Qianqian and Lin Muan in the future, I won't let him go. He won't. He's already invested too much energy in Lu Qianqian. That's not his main goal. There's no need for him to waste his time." Sheng Xiao analyzed Song Buoji's thoughts to Mu Qiqi. In any case, I'm holding back my anger today. I have to give that scumbag's speech a big gift in 2 days. It's about time. It's time to go home. We still have to go for a prenatal checkup. Sheng Xiao looked at his watch and reminded the little one. Got it. I'll go say hello and we'll leave. Mu Qiqi got up from the dining table and walked to Lu Qianqian. I won't be accompanying you in the afternoon. Enjoy yourself. I'm going for a prenatal checkup. Lu Qianqian looked down at Mu Qiqi's lower abdomen. Is it showing a little? I think so. Don't be jealous. Mu Qiqi looked smug. Lu Qianqian glanced at Lin Muan and smiled. I'm not envious. I can give birth myself. Anyway, thank you for today, Qiqi. There's no need for such pleasantries between us, right? In 2 days, I will avenge you. Mu Qiqi reached out and hugged Lu Qianqian again. She warned Lin Muan. If you don't treat Qianqian well, I'll definitely let you have a taste of how Master Xiao treats people. Lin Mu and looked at Lu Qianqian affectionately. Mu Qiqi had goosebumps when she heard Lu Qianqian's words. Actually, I'm actually quite grateful to that man surnamed Song. Because of him, Muan's grandfather was able to completely let go of his prejudice against me. This could be considered a blessing in disguise. Alright, I know you're the happiest today. Mu Qiqi could not stand the two of them continuing to show off their affection. She was sore all over. Let's go. Lu Qianqian watched as Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao left, keeping all her gratitude in her heart. Only Lin Mu and could understand that her life was already very complete to have such a close friend like Mu Qiqi. That was because there were a lot of people who would go through water and tread on fire for you. But when it really came to the time of need, they would disappear. However, there were some people who would definitely stand up for you at the critical moment of danger. Such a person was Muchichi. Let's go. It's time to dance. Lin Muan reached out to Lu Qianqian. Qianqian, trust me. I'll treat you well. It was a love that had seeped into his bones. What else was there to not believe? Saying all this was too shallow. In the afternoon, Sheng Xiao accompanied Muchichi to the hospital for a prenatal checkup. In just a month, the little thing in her belly already had a basic outline. Muchichi lay on the bed and looked very excited, but Sheng Xiao's expression was a little strange. What? He's a little ugly now, but you can't dislike him. Sheng Xiao glared at her and scolded softly. Nonsense. Then what's your reaction? CEO Sheng, this is the reaction of most new dads. Women can't quite understand that kind of emotion. It's just there's a very magical feeling and a sense of pride. The doctor looked at the couple and explained for Sheng Xiao with a smile. Is that so? Sheng Xiao coughed lightly as a tacit agreement. Then he helped Muchichi up from the bed. The baby is developing very beautifully. You don't have to worry at all. It's very stable. Of course, even though it's already 3 months old, you still have to be careful not to have any intense exercise. Actually, the doctor was hinting at sexual intercourse. However, it's not a problem to be appropriate. Thinking about a man like Sheng Xiao, if he abstained from sex for 10 months, how could he endure it? Therefore, while Muchichi went to the bathroom, the doctor gave Sheng Xiao a lot of advice. Of course, most of it was about what kind of position was suitable for a woman to not hurt the child after she was pregnant. When Muchichi returned, the two of them had already finished talking. She only felt that the atmosphere between the two of them was a little strange, but she did not ask in detail. Let's go. I'll send you home. What did the doctor say to you just now? Muchichi asked after she got into the car. Sheng Xiao's expression did not change as he drove. We were discussing what kind of position will not hurt you and will make you comfortable. When Muchichi heard that, she immediately blushed. You're still asking the doctor about this? The doctor took the initiative to tell me. I can't possibly refuse, can I? There was a faint teasing look in Sheng Xiao's eyes. You can try it tonight. Actually, it's not impossible. You've been enduring it for months. Am I the one who wants it or are you? Sheng Xiao did not forget that when this person lay on his chest he would always sigh. Why had his abdominal muscles become bigger again? Sometimes he would even covet his chest muscles. Muchichi ignored him. She just thought that she would be able to resume her normal married life at night and comfort her baby in her heart. There was no other way. She also missed this man very much. She would just treat it as the baby greeting its father in advance. Song Buoji had been waiting for a good show all day, but in the end, what he waited for was a golden boy and jade girl. He had clearly arranged so many good shows, but they did not play out as he had imagined. The seed of suspicion had clearly been planted in old Master Lin's heart, and the photos had been sent in the most conspicuous way. But why? In order to understand the engagement banquet, Song Buoji arranged for his assistant to go over to understand the situation. In the end, the assistant replied on the phone in fear. CEO Song, that. Now everyone in the noble circle knows that you were the one who framed Miss Liu. Because you couldn't get her love, you used despicable means to destroy other people's marriages. I found out from the media. They all claim that they are very shameless for your behavior, so they will definitely not help you create hype and destroy other people's marriages. Alright, you can come back now. After saying that, Song Buoji hung up the phone and threw it aside. The smile on his lips was playful because he did not expect that the drama he had spent so much effort to arrange would come to an end just like that. In the end, he had suffered a double loss. However, it was precisely because of this that Song Buoji's desire to win was aroused. Chapter 917. Of course, he would not spend any more time on Lu Qianqian. Just as Sheng Xiao had said, that would be a waste of time. Instead, he would turn his attention to Muchichi and Sheng Xiao. What an interesting couple. Especially Muchichi. How could he miss such an interesting woman? Moreover, although what happened today did not go according to his script, Lu Qianqian and the others should not have had a good time when it happened. Being able to make others unhappy was the greatest pleasure he had ever felt. Of course, he did not know that Mu Qiqi would give him an unexpected gift 2 days later. Late at night, the lively engagement banquet was over. Lu Qianqian and Lin Mu and drank some red wine when they returned home from the engagement banquet. When Mama Lu saw this, she helped them back to their room. She wanted them to have a good sleep. However, when Lin Mu opened his eyes and saw his beloved fiancée beside him, he pressed himself on Lu Qianqian's body and kissed her crazily. Lu Qianqian was aroused by him. She hugged him, and the two of them rolled on the bed. They took off all the gowns and suits and threw them under the bed. Although it was not a wedding night, it was still a very memorable day. So neither of them controlled themselves. The frantic kissing and the electric caressing made the atmosphere in the room completely ignite. Lin Mu hugged Lu Qianqian from behind and took as much as he could from her body. Qianqian, Qianqian, I'm here. Lu Qianqian was deeply immersed in lust and could not extricate herself. Actually, I don't want to be engaged to you at all. Lin Mu turned her over and hugged her tightly in his arms. I want to marry you directly. I want you to become my real wife, my Mrs. Lin. You're too good. I'm afraid you'll run away. Lu Qianqian was about to cry as she listened. When you graduate, we'll register our marriage immediately. Okay. Lin Mu seemed to be at ease. He finally stopped his crazy possession and became gentle. We want to be together forever and never abandon each other. Lu Qianqian nodded shyly. She did not dare to look down. Okay, Then, the two of them immersed themselves in another round of entanglement. The night was long. Some people were enjoying the night, while others were wearing silk pajamas and lying on the bed, feeling conflicted. In order to seduce the man, Mu Qiqi deliberately took out her black pajamas. However, the man just did not look at her. Master Xiao. Yeah. Sheng Xiao sat on the sofa, his eyes focused on the documents. Do you think I've gotten fatter? Sheng Xiao said without looking up. You've put on weight. Mu Qiqi was annoyed. She rolled her eyes and asked, how do you know? You'll know once you touch it. Sheng Xiao continued to bury his head, as if he did not understand the little thing's hint. Go to hell. Mu Qiqi threw the pillow at him, and it hit his back. Don't talk to me tonight. I'm going to sleep. You should have gone to bed long ago. Mu Qiqi lay down and did not plan to continue talking to this man. But in just 2 seconds she was hugged from behind. Mu Qiqi's expression softened, but her anger did not dissipate. Is it fun to tease me? I'm just wondering. We've been together for so many years. Why don't you just say what you want? Why do you have to hint and be shy? Mu Qiqi turned around. Her face was as red as a ripe apple. Girls should have some sense of shame, okay? Do you need it for me? Sheng Xiao snorted. This person was used to being shameless. It was only at times like this that she knew how to be reserved. I can't just shout at you, Xiao Xiao. Let's go to bed. We're here to do something shameful. How embarrassing would that be? What if you reject me? After hearing this, Sheng Xiao's eyes deepened. He looked at Mu Qiqi and said seriously, I rejected you? You heartless thing. That's true. You knew what I wanted to do just now, but you pretended not to know. Master Xiao, you've become bad. Mu Qiqi poked Sheng Xiao's strong chest with her finger. I've always been like this to you. With that, Sheng Xiao carried Mu Qiqi and walked from the bedroom to the bathroom. What? I just took a shower. The doctor suggested that you try not to press down on your abdomen. Do you understand? Sheng Xiao placed her on the floor and placed a towel on the sink. Then he carried her up. Moreover, I saw that little thing today. It's only the size of a palm and it's so fragile. If I go in, I'll definitely hurt it. Are you so sure? Mu Qiqi frowned as if she was recalling something. You know very well. Sheng Xiao's eyes were filled with lust. It was not strong because he was suppressing it. Mu Qiqi immediately stopped talking. Of course she knew his size. Then, do you want it or not? Do as I say, After Sheng Xiao instructed, he hooked his arm around Mu Qiqi's neck and sealed her chattering thin lips. He had been abstinent for 3 months. Sometimes words would be aroused by this thing, not to mention being hugged by her every day and being taken advantage of by her. How much of a test of a man's endurance was that? An hour later, Sheng Xiao carried Mu Qiqi back to the bedroom. The blush on Mu Qiqi's face had not completely subsided. She could only snuggle up to Sheng Xiao and bury her head in his chest. Where did you learn all this? Health class. Mu Qiqi was speechless. She was impressed. This man had specially learned this kind of knowledge just for this moment. Can you sleep now? Mu Qiqi leaned against Sheng Xiao and did not move. She hummed softly. Xiao Xiao, when I give birth, my figure will be out of shape. There will be stretch marks. When that time comes, I won't even dare to show them to you. Fifth aunt knows how to treat you. Also, Mom has already prepared essential oil to prevent stretch marks for you. What are you afraid of? What else could Mu Qiqi say after being spoiled like this? She could only hug Sheng Xiao tighter, because people were so strange. The happier they felt, the more frightened they were. They were deeply afraid that one day, all the good things they had today would disappear in an instant. What if I don't have you one day? Don't assume things that won't happen. After saying that, Sheng Xiao covered Mu Qiqi with a white blanket. Then he held her head and said, Aren't you tired? Sleep. I'm tired, Xiao Xiao. Mu Qiqi closed her eyes and mumbled. Chapter 9:18. Hearing the word daddy, Mu Qiqi's eyes suddenly widened. She raised her head and looked at Sheng Xiao. You still remember this? I'll admit defeat. Sheng Xiao stared at her head and said, But if I call you daddy, then won't the one in my stomach call you grandpa? Won't my daddy call you brother? Sheng Xiao saw that she was about to go back on her word, so he said teasingly, There's a way to call me daddy. It doesn't mean anything, but it's just to liven things up. Mu Qiqi was stunned for a moment. She punched Sheng Xiao's chest. You like this? This is a bet. I'll remember it. I'll return it to you next time. Mu Qiqi did not resist anymore. Since it was a bet, of course she had to abide by it. Don't go back on your word next time. Speaking of her father, Shen Jianchuan had been in Luohai for so long, but there was no news of him at all. She did not know how he was doing. Did he have any conflict with Sheng Kai? Mu Qiqi was angry when she thought of this. The Song family was fanning the flames everywhere, and doing things that angered both humans and gods. They really felt that they were taking revenge and enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens. In 2 days, she would teach Song Boiji how to be a person. The next morning, not long after Mu Qiqi woke up, old Master Shen called and said that Elder Lu had disappeared. He was happy yesterday and drank at the Lin family's house, so he slept soundly. Who knew that when he woke up in the morning, the old chief would be gone? Grandpa, don't worry. Maybe he just went out for a walk. Xiao Qi, you don't know this person. He must have gone back to Luohai for his sons. I'll call your father now and ask him to stop him. If anything happens, the doctor said that he won't be able to get them back. At this moment, old Master Shun hated himself for being careless. He had thought that after these days of persuasion, this person should have thought things through. Who knew that he was still thinking about his unfilial descendants? Grandpa, everyone has their own fate. Perhaps Grandpa Lu still wants his son by his side. Don't force yourself too much. He's really stubborn and can't think things through. With that, old Master Shen hung up. On Shen Jianchuan's side, because of the matter with the 3 children of the Lu family, he was already exhausted. If Elder Lu were to return at this moment, then everything that the Shen family had done would be in vain. During this period of time, he had seen Sheng Kai in Luohai, but he did not have the chance to talk to him. Shen Jianchuan did not know why the Sheng family had such a crooked seedling. It would have been fine if he was just doing some crooked business, but he was working for the Song family, who treated human lives like grass. Sometimes when he thought about it, he always felt that it was a pity. After that, Shen Jianchuan received a call from old Master Shen. However, he did not receive any news at all. Because he had expected Elder Lu to act on his own, Shen Jianchuan had sent people to pay attention to Luohai's movements. If Elder Lu returned, he should be able to know immediately. Dad, you're not sure where Elder Lu is right now. Don't worry. If he comes, I'll definitely receive the news, and I'll do my best to stop him. Shin Jianchuan replied over the phone. I can only look around. Jianchuan, I have a bad feeling about this. Dad, there are some things that you can't control. We can only do our best. Shen Jianchuan comforted the old man. Shen Jianchuan felt a headache coming on when he thought of the 3 nouveau riches from the Liu family. If it were his children, he would have dragged them down with him. Even if they were rescued now, they would not know what it meant to repent. Who knew, they might even become worse. It was no wonder that Elder Liu was so angry that he was sick. Originally, at his age, as long as his children and grandchildren worked hard, he would not be in such a miserable situation. These days, Sheng Kai and Song Qiaoji had been dealing with Shin Jianchuan in Luohai. Thinking of her dead fiancé, she could understand Shin Jianchuan's feelings at this moment. It was all because of the Song family. Akayu, could it be that you're really planning to help my father achieve this? The Liu family is now living a life worse than death. Sheng Kai was sitting at his desk dealing with Chongrong Electronics business. When he heard Song Qiaoji's question, he sneered. If I don't win his trust like this, do you think he will really trust me? I just don't want you to become an executioner with blood on your hands. Then, you'll be no different from my father. Song Qiaoji sat on the bed and tidied up her clothes. There was a dim look of disappointment in her eyes. Sheng Kai turned to look at her. He got up and hugged her. Of course, I also hope that this matter can come to an end, but not now. We don't have any evidence of your father's crimes in our hands. We don't have any room to struggle, because I know that he's just using you as a tool. If we're all useless, then the Liu family's today will be our tomorrow. I'm sorry. Song Qiaoji turned her head and apologized. I shouldn't have dragged you into this. This is a bottomless abyss. I chose to walk in on my own. After I came in, I realized what it means to take one step at a time, and what it means to walk on thin ice. Now, I can feel Eighth Brother's feelings when he was managing Huang Yao. Only after calming down did I realize how much time I wasted on meaningless things in the past. Don't worry. I don't want to be ruthless. I'm just doing it for your father. It's been hard on you. Perhaps, this is what Eighth Brother said about me, my special strength. Sheng Kai shrugged. However, even if we didn't do anything, the 3 scourges of the Liu family probably wouldn't have lived for long. They're troublemakers to begin with. But you shouldn't have done it. In the end, the responsibility will fall on you. Sheng Kai thought for a moment and smiled faintly. Perhaps, the first thing he had to learn from Song Jiang was how to avoid responsibility. Of course, he didn't mean the kind of responsibility that he should shoulder. But, he had to learn to plan for the future. I've done a lot of wrong things too. If that day really comes, I deserve it. Sheng Kai didn't avoid this point. No, we'll all live to escape the Song family's control. After saying that, Song Qiaoji reached out and hugged Sheng Kai. He was an old man in his 50s who was seriously ill. Now, he had 3 sons who refused to change despite repeated admonition, and an ex-wife who had endless desires. What else could he want to do when he was on the verge of death? He wanted to return to Luohai, see his wife, and settle some family matters with his own hands. As for the Song family, he could no longer care about them, because he knew that the Shen family would settle this matter with the Song family. Right now, he only wanted to see his wife and son. Back then he was a scout. Even though so many years had passed, it was still more than enough for him to avoid the spies. Shen Jianchuan didn't get any news of the old man. But the old man had indeed returned to Luohai, and had an apartment by the sea. Chapter 919. It was only then that Shen Jianchuan received the news. The old man had called his ex-wife and children home. It was obvious that he was going to make arrangements for his funeral. Therefore, he immediately inquired about the old man's residence by the sea, afraid that the old man would do something that he would regret. The eldest of the Liu family's 3 sons was about the same age as Shen Jianchuan, but looking at the children of the Shen family, and then looking at his own 3 children, the old man sat on the sofa in the living room with tears of regret in his eyes. He was indeed not a good husband, nor was he a good father. The 3 children thought that their backer had returned, so they quickly went to the old man's apartment. His ex-wife, naturally, also went to the apartment full of anger. However, when the four of them arrived at the apartment, the old man's expression was very calm. "Sit down and wait for me to make a will. I won't live for long anyway." Hearing that their father was going to make a will, the brothers could not hide the excitement in their eyes. Of course, the ex-wife also revealed a rare smile. "You old fart, you finally thought it through. Why don't you think about who will clean up your mess after you leave? You've been cleaning up the family for your entire life, but you haven't been able to clean it up." The few of them did not notice that the old man was wearing the military uniform that he had worn after he was discharged from the army. Because of his deformed figure, the military uniform looked a little loose on him. "Dad, you're about to die. Hurry up and tell us about these things, so that we can send you off." "That's right, Dad. It's hard for you to suffer like this." "Dad, I'll go get a pen and paper. Why don't you say it, and we'll write it." These were his three sons. Even if one of them had his hand cut off, because he went to flirt with someone else's woman. But when it came to a will, he could still write it. The old man sneered and then said slowly, "I have nothing to regret in this life. The only thing I regret is marrying you and giving birth to them." The ex-wife was stunned for a moment and thought that he was funny. "You're about to die and you're telling me this now? Before you came, I had already planted explosives in this house." The old man did not look at his ex-wife and only calmly told the four of them, "Since we're a family, no one will leave here today. This house is my will to you." When the four of them heard this, they were shocked and looked at each other. "Dad, are you joking?" "Whether I'm joking or not, won't you know if you listen carefully? I'm ashamed to have given birth to the three of you. You're worse than beasts. I'm thinking if I die, who will clean up your trash in the future? In any case, you won't be able to live long if you go out. Isn't it better to die by my hands?" The few of them immediately stood up and pricked up their ears to investigate. The atmosphere was also extremely tense. "Dad, are you joking? We are your sons. I'm leaving. I don't want to listen to your nonsense." The ex-wife immediately stood up, but as soon as she walked to the door of the living room, she was blown back by the explosives at the door. There was a loud bang. Homemade explosives, the power is not bad. Seeing their mother fall to the ground, the three men immediately knelt in front of the old man and begged, "Dad, please spare us. We're still so young. We don't want to die. Gambling, lecherous, fighting, you'll end up like this sooner or later. Don't beg for mercy today. Come with me." The old man did not give in at all. "Dad, no, we'll change. Really, we'll all change." "Change?" The old man looked at his sons and sneered. "Do you believe it yourself? We'll cut off our hands and swear." "Dad, don't be so ruthless. We're all your sons. But you've always treated me as your ATM, your money tree. When have you ever treated me as your father?" The old man looked at the three of them seriously and asked, "After I die, you will also be sought for revenge. Instead of that, it's better to end it now. Dad, we were really wrong. Really, let us go, let us go. I've given you too many chances to turn over a new leaf, but you didn't cherish them. It's because of you three beasts that I'm in this situation today. I don't want to indulge you anymore. I don't want you to harm others anymore. They're just three beasts. What's there to let go of?" The old man asked very seriously and solemnly, "All of you come with me, Dad." After spending some time, Shen Jianchuan finally found out where Elder Lu lived by the sea. He immediately brought his men over. However, when he arrived, the old man was sitting on the sofa with his eyes closed. He looked very peaceful. His three sons were locked in the room, and all of them were unconscious. Shen Jianchuan called the police. Elder Lu had passed away because of his serious illness. As for his three sons, they were just frightened. Of course, his ex-wife was really injured by the explosion and was sent to the hospital. In the end, he could not do those illegal things. However, he left a will for Shen Jianchuan. "Jianchuan, in the end, I can't kill these bastards with my own hands. But today, I've taught them the most important lesson in their lives. My wish has been fulfilled. I have no regrets even if I die. Your Shen family, don't bother about these bastards anymore. In the yellow envelope are all my movable and immovable assets. All these years, I've not been willing to give them to these beasts to squander. Help me find a medical or educational institution and donate them all. I know that your father is a person who values relationships and righteousness. But don't carry the burden of other people's lives on your shoulders. I'm already so old. What else can I see through? I'm sorry, Jianchuan. The grudges of the previous generation have implicated you juniors. But I'm afraid that I'm powerless to untie this knot. I can only rely on you. Think about it, life is just a drop in the ocean. I don't regret coming here and getting to know your father's brothers who are worth befriending. Farewell, my little nephew. After Shen Jianchuan finished reading the letter, he felt very upset. Then, he helped the old man lie on the sofa, so that he could sleep comfortably. Then, he took the letter into the bedroom, and looked at the beasts whose hands and feet were tied up. Your father has left. When the three of them heard this, their reaction was actually a sigh of relief. Shen Jianchuan thought that he did not need to bother himself with these people anymore. He only said, your father left behind 3 properties and tens of millions of yuan in savings. But his will has already made it clear that he will donate all of these things to the medical and educational industries. You won't get a single cent. In the future, no one will care about you. The Shen family won't care about you either. This means that whether the Song family wants to kill you or put you in prison, I won't help you anymore. I'll wait and see what happens to you. In a few days, the Shen family will help your father with his funeral. At that time, I don't want to see you. I'll beat you up every time I see you. Chapter 920. After Old Master Shen knew that the old general had passed away, he sat by the fish pond and stayed there quietly for the whole afternoon. Although Old Master Lu's illness was the result of accumulation over a long period of time, the Song family's attack had intensified the conflict between the father and son of the Lu family. In the end, the old general, who had been in the military all his life, was forced to die. Old Master Shen always wanted to do something, but he was already gone. No matter how much he did, he could not save a life. After Mu Qiqi left the Jianchuan branch office, she went straight to the Shen family. Your grandfather has been sitting like this for the whole afternoon. He must have suffered a lot. He is usually stubborn and doesn't listen to anyone. He only listens to you. That's why I called you and asked you to come over. Huang Yu pointed at Old Master Shen, who was sitting by the fish pond, and said to Mu Qiqi, everyone has their own fate. Thinking about the past, if Shen Lin also became like this, I would be so sad. Speaking of this, Second Aunt has to thank you again. It's all in the past. Isn't it good for Shen Lin to be in the army now? Mu Qiqi comforted Huang Yu. Then, she lifted her dress and walked toward Grandpa Shen. The mosquitoes by the fish pond have been fed by you. Old Master Shen turned around and saw Mu Qiqi. He sighed. Why are you here? Grandpa, it's not that I want to criticize you, but you really don't understand Grandpa Lu at all. He fulfilled a wish and passed away so peacefully, without any regrets in his heart. Perhaps this is the best release for him. You should fulfill his choice and not be entangled in this kind of thing. How can I not know what he is thinking? But how can I not be angry when the Song family is involved? I know that you don't want the villain's evil plan to succeed, but Grandpa, don't forget that we still have a long time ahead of us. Since ancient times, evil can never win over good. The Song family will be dealt with by us sooner or later. Why are you in such a hurry? Think about it. The Song family has been dormant for more than 20 years. How many days have you endured? Old Master Shen looked at the clever girl beside him, and could not help but laugh. You always find all kinds of fallacies to comfort people. How am I fallacies? Cheer up. In 2 days, I will go to Luo Hai with you to mourn Grandpa Lu. Moreover, there will be a good show tomorrow. Girl, what do you want to do? With your grandson-in-law watching, nothing will happen. Don't worry. After saying that, Mu Qiqi leaned on Grandpa Sheng's shoulder and said, Grandpa, do you know how many bodies are found in the police station every day? The youngest of those cold corpses was probably just a baby in swaddling clothes. Compared to that, I think there must be something in Grandpa Lu's life that he felt was worth it. He has gone to Elysium, so you really don't have to be sad for him. If you continue to wear that face, your great-grandson might not be happy. It had to be said that when this girl tried to persuade people, she was really able to come up with a bunch of fallacious arguments. But it just so happened that it was very useful to her. Grandpa Shun had no choice but to shake his head and admit defeat. I'll go eat now. Is that okay? If you're still like this tomorrow, I won't come to see you anymore. You're threatening me. The old man was unhappy. However, he still left the fish pond obediently and asked the kitchen at home to prepare some dinner. When Huang Yu saw this, she gave Mu Qiqi a thumbs up. As expected, the most precious granddaughter had to step in. Eighth brother is here to pick you up. Go back. Mu Qiqi nodded and lifted her dress to leave the Shen family's courtyard. At that moment, Sheng Xiao was standing at the entrance of the Shen family's courtyard, under the plaque of the Shen mansion. When Mu Qiqi saw the man's slender figure, her gaze unconsciously became a little greedy. Especially when Sheng Xiao turned around, Mu Qiqi felt her heart stop. Sheng Xiao was very familiar with this kind of gaze. After so many years, she still looked like she wanted to eat him up. When she had a crush on him back then, she didn't bother with any pretense. The two of them held hands and returned to the banyan courtyard. Mu Qiqi thought of Song Buoji's speech tomorrow, and quickly asked Sheng Xiao, "Have you prepared the tickets for me? Are you worried about Su Che?" Sheng Xiao turned to ask her. Of course not. It's just that when I was persuading Grandpa at the fish pond just now, I was actually even angrier than him. Qianqian's anger was hard enough to swallow. In the future, there will be many opportunities to fight with the Song family. There's no need to be in a hurry. Don't worry. I forgot to tell you that the venue for Song Buoji's speech tomorrow is under the Sheng family's banner. Mu Qiqi knew that the man beside her could bear a grudge for several years, but she couldn't. If she was the only one who felt bad, then she definitely couldn't tolerate it. Tomorrow, I'll let Song Buoji test my power. I'll let Su Che follow you tomorrow. She was pregnant, so of course Mu Qiqi wouldn't refuse. After the Song family heard the news of Elder Lu's death, they opened champagne at home late at night to celebrate. Song Jiang was especially happy. If your dead grandparents and aunt knew about it in the underworld, they would be happy. Of course, that's not enough. After a while, send the Shen family down to kowtow to them and admit their wrongs. Song Buoji's expression was a little numb. How much affection did you give him for his family that he had never met? That was impossible. Akai did a good job. When he and Xiaoji returned to Jianshuan, treat him better, Song Jiang instructed. In the future, I have more important tasks for him. If I were Shen Kai, I wouldn't leave any of the Lu family's brothers alive, Song Buoji said ruthlessly. What about what I told you to do? How's it going? You still have the face to talk about others? Song Jiang snorted coldly. I think if I count on you to get Mu Qiqi, I might have to wait until I die of old age. Games have to be played slowly. How boring is it to achieve your goal from the beginning? Song Buoji shrugged indifferently. If you show your trump card to the Sheng family now, you won't have to wait for the change of office. You'll be directly dealt with by Sheng Xiao. You'd better be really confident. Sometimes Song Jiang couldn't see through his son. What kind of tricks was he playing? Song Buoji took a sip from his goblet. His gaze was indeed on Mu Qiqi. However, in the face of such a highly intelligent woman who was dead set on Sheng Xiao, he didn't know what to do with her in a short period of time. He couldn't just brush her off casually. In a few days, when that old man surnamed Lu is buried, I'll find a few people to pry open his grave, so that his bones won't be left. That way, I'll have an explanation for Grandpa, Grandma and Aunt, right? Song Jiang nodded. That's a good idea. When the time comes, I'll give that old fart of the Shen family the same treatment. Chapter 921. The next day, Song Buoji held a huge speech at the Anai Center on the difference between Chinese and Western education. He wanted to further expand Yashang Group's reputation in the education industry, and also sell his famous work, 10 Things Parents Must Know About Educating Their Children. He was the kind of person who played the role of a beast and an angel at the same time. Mu Qiqi woke up early and asked Su Che to send Sheng Xiao to Zhongting first before sending her to the venue of the speech. She saw many of Song Buoji's famous works in the speech center. Mu Qiqi took one and held it in her hand. The speech was held at 10 in the morning. At this time, Mu Chichi saw many parents leading their children into the hall. There was no lack of elderly people bringing their grandchildren to receive education. Su Che, how many people can this hall hold? 5,000. Su Che answered from behind Mu Chichi. In fact, he was protecting her. After all, she was pregnant, which made people even more vigilant. Mu Chichi was wearing a lavender mid-length dress today. She was sitting in the middle of the venue. If she didn't stand in the center earlier, how would she arrange a good show later? The seat was in the middle, but there was only a row of empty seats from the podium. There was an aisle in the middle. Mu Chichi raised her hand and tested the distance of the book in her hand. It seemed like she didn't need much strength. Soon, there was only one empty seat left. It had to be said that the Yashang group's ability to fool people was indeed remarkable. However, how could a person like him be worthy of education? Song Buoji had no idea that Mu Chichi was also present today. He just enjoyed the excitement of being admired by others while acting like a demon. Every time he gave a speech like this, the sense of accomplishment he felt when he was admired by thousands of people below the stage was really exciting. Therefore, every time he gave a speech, he would deliberately wear a pair of black-rimmed glasses to make himself look more like an educator. He looks like a downright cultured scum. Mu Chichi couldn't help but say this. She was immediately glared at by the people sitting on both sides. After that, it was Song Buoji's incessant speech. Every word he said sounded so inspiring. Our Yashang group has been engaged in education for 10 years. We've made very dazzling achievements abroad. Now, our focus has shifted, and we've established an education base in Jianchuan, so that more children can find their own way out. To tell you the truth, I used to be a complete slacker. But after a series of scientific studies, I am standing here. I believe that everyone has heard of Yashang Group's name a long time ago. In the education circle, we represent the future. I can tell you responsibly that handing over your children to Yashang Group's education is definitely the right choice. Mu Chichi rolled her eyes. What era was it now? There were still people who drank such chicken soup. Mu Chichi could not bear to listen to Song Buoji's exaggerated account of his experience. Then, she saw a book fall at Song Buoji's feet while he was talking. She took a closer look and realized that it was his book. The hall immediately fell silent, and Song Buoji bent down to pick up the book. Everyone looked in the direction where the book had flown to. Mu Chichi enjoyed the attention. She crossed her arms and looked at Song Buoji. Song Buoji followed everyone's gaze, and suddenly saw Mu Chichi below the stage. He had been too engrossed in his speech just now, and did not notice that there was such a person below the stage. He did not expect Mu Chichi to come over and confront him head-on. Mr. Song, I've been listening to your speech for half an hour. I really can't take it anymore. I'm sorry, can you let me ask a few questions first? Mrs. Sheng, thank you for coming. I'm sorry for not coming out to welcome you. Song Buoji was not that stupid. He knew very well what Mu Chichi was going to do on such an occasion. I'm just curious. What qualifications does a person who drugged a girl in order to pursue her have to be an educator? I don't understand what you're talking about. Song Buoji maintained his perfect smile and asked the security guards. Someone's causing trouble. Please get rid of them. Feeling guilty? I still have a big move on the media. I didn't have time to settle the score with you 2 days ago. Today I'll join in the fun. Who are you? Why are you causing trouble? Our children are here to listen to the speech. The people around them looked at Mu Chichi angrily, as if blaming her for ruining the good atmosphere. Are you at ease letting a beast in human attire, who drugged people, educate your children? Mu Chichi asked with a smirk. You don't have any evidence. How do you know I don't have any evidence? In order to pursue a girl, this Mr. Song destroyed someone else's marriage, drugged a girl, and took indecent photos. These things have spread throughout the noble circle. I think that all of you here, as long as you verify it a little, you'll know whether it's true or not. Why should I joke around with you? The parents present were a little stunned. At this moment, the security guard walked in front of Mu Chichi. Miss, please leave. I'm sorry, I really want to cooperate with your work. However, Mr. Song, when you were giving your speech here, did you find out who paid for the Enai Center? Brother, do you want to ask your lady boss to leave? After the security guard heard this, he was in a dilemma and looked at each other. I understand. After all, Mr. Song has just arrived in Jianchuan. He might not be very clear about the Sheng family's sphere of influence. This fully shows that the Yashang group's ability to do things isn't very good. You even rented the Sheng family's venue? Everyone, I'm not here to interfere with your children's education. I quite agree with what you're doing. However, I'm here today to take revenge. How Mr. Song treated my friends, I'll return it all today. It doesn't matter if you don't believe me. Anyway, the media will reveal it later. I just don't want you to feel as disgusted as if you swallowed a fly. If you think that there's no problem with letting such an educator educate your children, just take it that my appearance today is just to settle a personal grudge. You can continue. As soon as Mu Qiqi finished speaking, parents were already leaving the venue with their children. After all, they just wanted their children to receive an education. Who wanted to take this risk? In a short while, there were only a few people left in the originally full venue. Song Buozhi was still standing on the stage. He looked at Mu Qiqi and asked, "There's no man in the Sheng family? How can a woman like you face the challenge?" Chapter 922. The men of the Sheng family are all busy. Maybe I'm more free. Mu Qiqi shrugged. I know your target is me, so I came over to greet you. Since we're going to fight, we have to get to know each other. I just want to cure your glaucoma. Don't vent your anger on just anyone. Song Buozhi took off his glasses, as if to see Mu Qiqi more clearly. Although it's only the second time we've met, you seem to have become more beautiful. You're very handsome too. Mu Qiqi was not stingy with her praise. I'm here to settle the score with you for Qianqian and Grandpa Lu. We'll meet again. You don't seem to be afraid of me at all. Perhaps you haven't seen how ruthless I am. I have a problem. I become stronger when I meet someone strong. Go ahead and make your move. I'm not scared, so my legs won't go weak so easily. After saying that, Mu Qiqi turned around from her seat. I'm a little tired today. Suche, send me home. Song Buozhi could not do anything to Mu Qiqi, because he had seen many women, but none of them were like her. Life and death could not scare her. She specialized in being with corpses. Therefore, the things that ordinary women were afraid of were all ineffective against her. Her weakness was that she valued relationships, but the people around her were not easy to deal with. Song Buozhi touched his heartbeat. This was clearly the speed of meeting love. Facing Mu Qiqi, men would have the desire to conquer her. However, there was only one man in this world who could make Mu Qiqi willingly submit to him, and that was Sheng Xiao. Sheng Xiao. No, rather than saying that Mu Qiqi submitted to Sheng Xiao, it was more accurate to say that Sheng Xiao had single-handedly trained Mu Qiqi today. In the past, he had promised Mu Qiqi that he would let her do whatever she wanted in Jianchuan. After so many years, Mu Qiqi had done it. Madam isn't afraid of angering that man at all. Su Che whispered to Mu Qiqi on the way back. He won't be angered because the more easily a person gets angry, the easier it is for them to reveal flaws. Song Buozhi isn't that stupid, Mu Qiqi answered Su Che. I want him to focus on me. She didn't want to implicate anyone else. But you ruined his speech today. Will he let it go just like that? He can't do anything to me for now, because he didn't know how to deal with it. Soon, the media in Jianchuan began to spread the news that Uncle Song had ruined someone's wedding 2 days ago. It was also rumored that he had drugged the other party's girl and taken indecent photos. This is consistent with what Mu Qiqi said in the Annai Center today. Therefore, the education business of the Song family is bound to be neglected at this critical moment. It is hard for the parents to believe in a person with bad conduct. When Song Jiang found out about the news, he slammed the table in anger and called Song Buozhi. How do you do things? And now the Sheng family had something on them. Now the whole world is saying that you like a woman and can't get her. You even drugged her and took photos of her shamelessly. What have I taught you? You don't have to worry about my business. You should take care of your godson first. Song Buozhi refused to be disciplined at all. In fact, the father and son had different temperaments. Song Jiang wanted revenge and power. Song Buozhi only wanted to play in the human world. He had no desire for revenge at all. It was all the old thing's own decision. Boji, don't forget the great enmity of our Song family. That's just your great enmity. With that, Song Boji hung up on Song Jiang. Sitting on the chair, he listened to the various reports from the department manager. But his mind was all on Mu Qiqi. It was a pity that such a woman was now Xing Zhao's woman. Mu Qiqi had avenged Lu Qianqian and made Song Boji shoot himself in the foot. However, she still could not hurt the Song family fundamentally. They had prepared for too long and planned for too long. They did not know when they would be able to investigate Bai Sini's case, which was behind Song Jiang. Late at night, Sheng Xiao returned home and saw Mu Qiqi standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window in a daze. He hugged her from behind. Aren't you happy after taking revenge? What kind of revenge is this? Master Xiao, you know very well that this can't hurt the Song family. I can only anger that shameless father and son pair and give Qianqian an explanation. Mu Qiqi leaned back in relief. Of course, Sheng Xiao knew that. That was why he let Mu Qiqi do it and let her vent her anger. In 2 days, I'll accompany grandfather to Luohai to pay his respects to grandfather Lu. Do you want to come with us? Together. With that, Sheng Xiao turned the little one around. Don't meet the Song family alone in the future. Why? Sheng Xiao pinched Mu Qiqi's chin and leaned close to her eyes. Because I'm very seductive. What's there to be afraid of? I'm only infatuated with you. It's fine if I don't know, but I don't want some unclean things to covet you under my nose. After Sheng Xiao said that, he let go of her chin. However, Mu Qiqi knew that this person was jealous. Okay, I won't see you again. I won't see you again. You're such a petty man. Ah! Sheng Xiao raised his voice. Mu Qiqi quickly shut up and buried her head in Sheng Xiao's arms. As soon as old Master Lu died, Sheng Kai and Song Qiaoji were summoned back to Jianchuan. Sheng Kai did a very good job on this matter. In addition, Song Boji had disappointed Song Jiang, so his attitude toward Sheng Kai was even gentler than before. You've contributed greatly to the destruction of the Lu family this time. Kai, tell me what you want. I'll definitely satisfy you. Sheng Kai turned around and glanced at Song Qiaoji. I don't have anything I want. I just want Godfather to hand Qiaoji over to me. I want to take care of her for the rest of her life. Song Jiang looked at Song Qiaoji. It was indeed a good arrangement for her to control Sheng Kai. I told you before that if you want to get married, you should do it as soon as possible. I still want to have a grandson as soon as possible. Kai, after you become the son-in-law of the Song family, I'll definitely make you 100 times more glorious than when you were in the Sheng family. Qiaoji and I don't plan to have a big wedding. We just want it to be simple. I hope Godfather can fulfill our wish. All right, you're the hero. I'll do as you say. It could be seen that Song Jiang was very happy. At least, Sheng Kai had done something for him. It also proved that Sheng Kai was still useful. But in the future, you have to be wholehearted to my daughter. Of course. After Sheng Kai promised, he turned to look at Song Qiaoji. Are you willing to marry me? Now that things had come to this, the two of them were one. Song Qiaoji was naturally willing. She thought that if she had the chance to find evidence of Song Jiang's crime in the future, she and Sheng Kai could still live an ordinary life. Although it was just an extravagant hope for her now. Although I don't want to have a big wedding, I want everyone in Jianchuan to know that we're married. Chapter 923. Yes, we have to let the people of Jianchuan know, especially the Sheng family. Song Jiang was happy just thinking about it. The Sheng family was his son-in-law, and would do anything for him. Kai, let's see if you can be ruthless. I left the Sheng family a long time ago. I'm not a member of the Sheng family. Sheng Kai understood Song Qiaoji's goal. She wanted him to completely cut off his relationship with the Sheng family, and win Song Jiang's trust as soon as possible. Good, that's great. Sheng Kai's reaction made Song Jiang very satisfied. Then I'll find a suitable time to announce this news. Sheng Kai and Song Qiaoji looked at each other. In fact, there was guilt in Song Qiaoji's eyes. After all, Sheng Kai would have no relatives in the future. However, this way, he would be safer and wouldn't be restricted by her father. Therefore, on the way back to the apartment, Song Qiaoji couldn't help but apologize to Sheng Kai. I'm sorry, I didn't ask you before I made my own decision. This will happen sooner or later. I don't care. Sheng Kai appeared very calm. This is good for everyone. Akai, I only have you, and you only have me. No matter what happens in the future, I won't leave you, and I won't give up on you. Sheng Kai drove the car, and turned to smile at Song Qiaoji. I know. Soon, the news of the two of them getting married spread throughout Jianshuan. The Song family had previously gone against Zhongting, and Mu Qiqi had gone to cause trouble at Song Buoji's speech. There was clearly a grudge between the two families. But now, the Song family had announced that Sheng Kai was about to become their son-in-law. When old Master Sheng found out about this, he was so angry that he almost went to the hospital again. Although he knew that Sheng Kai could not be saved, he still felt his heart ache when he saw this news and knew that Sheng Kai was going to acknowledge a traitor as his father. What a sin! The butler gave Sheng Xiao a call. Of course, the job of persuading them now fell on Mu Qiqi's shoulders. After all, the two old men cared about her the most right now. The incident with old Lu of the Shen family was not over yet. Now that news about Sheng Kai had spread, Mu Qiqi felt that she needed 3 heads and 6 arms. Be that as it may, she rushed to the Sheng family's house immediately. She walked with her little belly propped up. My ancestor, you are carrying my great-grandson. Walk slower. Mu Qiqi sat down on the sofa, her body steaming. Don't be depressed if you want me to be more comfortable. You're already so old, and I'm always worried. Didn't you call 8th brother? Why are you the one who came? Old Master Sheng sounded very disdainful. Your 8th brother really knows how to slack off now. He knows that you're all on my side now. So he keeps an eye on me every day to deal with you 2 rotten old men. Who's on your side? The old man was lying on the bed, but he still didn't give in. I won't lower myself to your level. Old man, I'll talk to you about Sheng Kai. Since you've already let him go, just let him go. Don't keep holding on to him. What he wants is his own choice. He has his own pride. If the Sheng family becomes the Song family's live-in son-in-law, then so be it. He can live by himself, so don't worry about it. It's not that Xiao Xiao couldn't drag Sheng Kai out back then, but he was unwilling. Since this is his choice, I think you should believe him. No matter whether it's right or wrong, he's already in his 30s. Can't he bear the consequences? You're anxious. What can you do if you go and ruin the marriage? It's useless for you to force a person whose heart is not with the Sheng family. You have so many children and grandchildren. Just pretend that he was spoiled at an early age and turn a blind eye. Why make things difficult for yourself? Here, I'll give you the one in my stomach in a few months, okay? After hearing this, the old man leaned against the bed and did not speak. After a long while he said, I just want to see him and ask him face to face if that's his sincere choice. The Song family is not a good place to stay. If you want to make things difficult for him, you can go. After hearing this, the old man was completely disappointed. How about this? If I have the chance to see him in the future, I'll ask for you. The premise is that you have to take your medicine and recuperate obediently. For some reason, the older he got, the more he behaved like a child. Both Old Master Shun and Old Master Sheng were like that. Although the two of them were not the kind of people who valued sons over daughters, at this age, they still felt that daughters and granddaughters were good and considerate. Okay. Old Master Sheng agreed straightforwardly. Mu Qiqi comforted him and waited for him to fall asleep before leaving the Sheng family. Now that 6th brother saw Mu Qiqi, he was much more polite. After all, he had no choice but to admit defeat. How many people in the family could control the old man now? She was the only one. Even 8th brother's words were useless. Mu Qiqi returned home after running around for a day. When she saw Sheng Xiao packing their things, she immediately remembered that she was going to Luohai to attend Elder Lu's funeral. The old man is fine. He's just thinking. Thank you for your hard work, Sheng Xiao answered her as he packed his things. Actually, Xiao Xiao, I don't understand either. Why did Sheng Kai do that? Previously, in order to drag him out, Sheng Xiao had offered very generous conditions. He had even disregarded the past and allowed him to have dignity. However, he didn't want anything. Did he hate the Sheng family that much? However, Mu Qiqi didn't feel that Sheng Kai was aggressive towards the Sheng family. This made her feel very strange. He has someone he wants to protect. You mean Song Qiaoji? When did these two people become so devoted to each other? Moreover, she couldn't understand Song Qiaoji. She couldn't tell if she was good or bad, but she felt that she had many secrets. After Sheng Xiao packed his things, he sat down on the sofa and waved at Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi sat down in Sheng Xiao's arms and wrapped her arms around his neck. Is there a possibility that Sheng Kai is a spy? Have you watched too many movies? I'll find a chance to meet someone. The Song family is already very difficult to deal with. Sheng Kai is involved. In the future, he will be involved in the Song family's matters. His hands will be stained with blood. Sheng Xiao didn't think that Sheng Kai had the guts to commit such a crime. Seeing the little thing in his arms moving around, he suddenly pressed down on Mu Qiqi and whispered in her ear. Can you call me daddy tonight? Mu Qiqi was stunned. This man's bad taste came too quickly. You reminded me. I'll call daddy and ask about the situation over there. After saying that, Mu Qiqi got up, but Sheng Xiao stopped her. You want to run? Who said so? I'll go wash up first and wait for you. Really? Then go. Sheng Xiao let go of her playfully. He knew best what kind of tricks she was up to. However, he was happy that he had spoiled her like this. Chapter 924. In the end, it was unknown whether Mu Qiqi admitted defeat or not. However, when the two of them came out of the bathroom, Mu Qiqi's ears were still red. Sheng Xiao hugged her with a satisfied look on his face. He thought that Mu Qiqi's encouraging words should have been in place. After returning to the bed, Mu Qiqi immediately curled up under the blanket with her back, facing the stinky man. She felt embarrassed. Sheng Xiao stared at her back and could not help but ask, Are you regretting it now? I think it's a little hot to the ears. Mu Qiqi felt her face turn red when she thought of that scene. I like it. With that, Sheng Xiao pulled her over and slept contentedly. The next day, the two of them picked up old Master Shen, and the three of them went to Luo Hai to attend the funeral. Old Master Lu's mourning hall was set up in his old house, and most of the people who came to pay their respects were his comrades. His family was not notified. This was because Shen Jianchuan had warned Elder Lu's three sons that they were not allowed to appear in Elder Lu's mourning hall. His ex-wife was also injured by the explosion, but she still did not learn her lesson. She was clamoring in the hospital that she wanted to come out and fight Shen Jianchuan. That old man had left so much inheritance. How could he just donate it away? Shen Jianchuan ignored all of them. She was already gone, yet she still wanted to suck his blood. How cold-hearted was she? Because there were not many comrades left in that generation. There were even fewer people who could come to pay their respects. Shen Jianchuan knew that those three unfilial disciples were nearby, but he was not in the mood to deal with the Lu family's bastards. He could not be bothered to waste his energy. When it was almost noon, Mu Qiqi and the other two arrived at the mourning hall. When old Master Shen saw Elder Lu's portrait, he was so excited that his hands trembled, and he almost lost control of his emotions. Mu Qiqi supported him, afraid that he would not be able to hold back and kneel down. Shen Jianchuan quickly supported his father and said to him, Tomorrow morning, he will enter the garden mausoleum like a spark. Old Master Shen grabbed his son's wrist and nodded. You've worked hard. Xiaoqi, take care of Grandpa. Shen Jianchuan handed the old man back to Mu Qiqi. You and eighth brother have also been considerate. Dad, what are you talking about? Mu Qiqi didn't like him being so polite. I also feel very sorry that Grandpa Lu is gone. In the future, when the old man of the Song family leaves, I will lead a large group to sit in his mourning hall and play gongs and drums. It will be lively for the whole day. Silly girl. How many days had it been since Shen Jianchuan last smiled? But he couldn't stand his daughter's teasing. It's good that you're laughing. Dad, take care and rest. After paying their respects to the old man, Mu Qiqi helped Grandpa Shen to rest outside the mourning hall. Sheng Xiao lit an incense stick for the old man and stood beside Shen Jianchuan. Eighth brother, you don't need it. Since he's the son-in-law of the Shen family, there's nothing wrong with that. Sheng Xiao's words made Shen Jianchuan speechless. In the eyes of the people of Jianchuan, Sheng Xiao was always a god high above. But for his little Seven, he was just an ordinary husband, a man who was responsible for his family. I hope you can understand the friendship of the Shen family. At that thought, Sheng Xiao smiled faintly, because he remembered the little one's nosy personality. That seemed to be the strength of her genes. It was also because of Sheng Xiao's presence that the few people outside the door, who were watching covetously, became even more afraid of entering the morning hall. Old Master Shen sat on the steps outside the morning hall, and calmed himself down. Seeing that his son and grandson-in-law were so sensible, he could not help but sigh. I'll lend them to old Lu. He has a son to send off. Grandpa Lu will definitely feel gratified if he knows in the afterlife. Actually, Mu Qiqi did not expect Sheng Xiao to take the initiative to do such a thing. From afar, Sheng Xiao looked even more warm and responsible than the invincible god he was usually. In the past, Sheng Xiao never cared about the family. He did whatever he liked. However, now that he was going to be a father, he seemed to be more willing to integrate into the entire family and bear his own responsibilities. Eighth brother is really a mature man. Old Master Shen was extremely gratified after seeing this. Mu Qiqi nodded. Just as she was about to help her grandfather up, old Lu's ex-wife walked toward the morning hall aggressively with more than 10 people. Shen Jianquan saw them from afar and immediately said to Sheng Xiao, "Protect Xiaoqi." Sheng Xiao quickly walked to Mu Qiqi's side and protected the old and the young behind him. Outside the door, Su Che was also there. It just so happens that all of the Shen family is here. I can't be bothered to go to Jianquan to look for you. I don't want to cause trouble today, but I want the Shen family to give me justice. My husband is dead. Who should inherit his inheritance? If you don't give me an explanation today, no one can leave this place. Old Master Lu's ex-wife was also close to 70 years old. Her figure was already seriously out of shape. She was just an old lady now, but she still liked to fight and rob. In this life, she had never let her husband go for a day. I've already donated all of Uncle Lu's money according to his last wishes. It's a legal and fair document. Uncle Lu signed it in black and white. If you still have any doubts, you can sue me. But this is Uncle Lu's morning hall. If you still have a conscience, let him go in peace. Shen Jianquan stood in front of the old lady. The old lady sneered. Her eyes were full of resentment. I've been with him for a lifetime, and gave birth to 3 sons for him. But in the end I didn't get anything. Let him go in peace. Who's pitying me? He's already gone. No matter how much resentment you have, it should disappear. Shen Jianquan frowned and retorted. Vanish into thin air? You make it sound so simple. The old lady sneered. What's the big deal about dying? The most painful thing for a person is to live a life worse than death. He died cleanly. He was burned, and there's nothing left. But what about me? There are 3 unfilial sons outside. They ask for money every day. Who's going to raise the 3 grandsons at home? I do hate him. I hate him the most in my life. But I really didn't expect him to leave like this. The old lady suddenly clutched her chest and cried. We've been enemies for a lifetime. Even in death, you still want to torture me. Why don't you take me away, you damn old man? Mu Qiqi could hear that the old lady's feelings for Grandpa Lu were extremely complicated. There was extreme hatred, but there was also unwavering love. Without you, how can I survive? The old lady squatted on the ground and cried. Get up and fight with me again. We haven't even settled the score in this life. What right do you have to bring it to the next life? Chapter 925. Seeing her heartbroken look, Mu Qiqi was really afraid that she would take things too hard. However, the old lady was obviously stronger than Grandpa Lu. After crying enough, she stood up and wiped her tears. I'm not as heartless as you. You don't even leave a single cent for your descendants. I'm also not willing to die with you, because I still have grandchildren to support. Today, I've come to send you off. In the next life, let's not meet again. I've really been blind to marry you in this life. Things did not develop as the Shen family had expected. For some reason, Mu Qiqi suddenly admired the old lady. Especially when she saw her stumbling away. She didn't know why, but she felt a little sad. Perhaps old Master Shen could not bear to do it. In the end, he turned around and asked Shen Jianchuan, "Did you really donate it all? As for this house, I haven't had the time to set up a mourning hall. Give it to the old lady. It's a memento for her." More than 10 people came in a grandiose manner, and then turned around in a grandiose manner. They were all members of the old madam's family. They offered a stick of incense, bowed, and left in a hurry. It turned out that there was such an existence of love. Mu Qiqi secretly tightened her grip on Sheng Zhao's hand. She would feel terrible even if they had a cold war for half an hour, let alone a quarrel. She certainly could not bear to be angry at him. For the entire day, the 3 sons of the Lu family did not dare to enter. It was not until late at night that old Master Shen and Shen Jianchuan stayed in the mourning hall to mourn for Elder Lu's last night. The 3 of them walked to the entrance of the mourning hall and knelt down. "Uncle Shen, please let us send Dad on his last journey. We were really wrong." Because Mu Qiqi was pregnant, she had to go back to the hotel to rest under Sheng Zhao's care. So she missed the part where the Lu family's son admitted his mistake. "That old lady today touched me a lot." While they were showering, Mu Qiqi lay on Sheng Zhao's back and said, "Why do some people end up hating each other as they fall in love? Why can't we love each other when we know that we can't be apart for the rest of our lives?" Sheng Zhao turned and glanced briefly at Mu Qiqi, before drying them and carrying her to bed. "Are you afraid that we'll become a resentful couple?" Mu Qiqi shook her head. "We will never become like that, because I know that we love each other without reservation. I can't bear to make you angry, and you can't bear to make me sad. Since you already know, why are you still so emotional? Maybe it's because I'm going to be a mother soon. But I really admire that old lady. If it were me, I definitely wouldn't be able to live alone without you. I'm more selfish than she is." After Sheng Zhao heard that, he pinched her chin and said, "That's a long way. You have to stay with me until I'm 70 or 80. Now that I think about it, Grandpa Lu isn't that miserable after all. At least he has Grandma Lu's love, and it seems to be a little warmer." Initially, he thought that he would have to go to war with the 3 sons of the Lu family on this trip to Luohai. He did not expect that the heavens would still favor the good. After sending off Old Master Lu, Old Master Shen, and the others returned to Jianchuan in the afternoon. However, before that, Shen Jianchuan personally delivered the key to the old lady's house. The 3 grandsons of the Lu family were now crying piteously for food. The 3 sons of the Lu family were useless, and the wife was also idle. It was no wonder that the old lady was so vicious. "Sell the house and get a smaller suite. The rest of the money is enough for the few of you to live for a few years. Is this what the old man wants?" The old lady held the key and felt a little uncomfortable. If you weren't so mean to him, and you could communicate properly, the old man wouldn't have been so desperate that he took that step. After saying that, Shen Jianchuan walked out of the house. However, the old lady chased after him. "I know that the old man's former enemies have come looking for him. He can't do anything about it. If the Song family is caught, and I'm still around, find someone to bring the news to make me happy. That bastard will die a horrible death." "I will." After old Master Lu's funeral was settled, the family returned to Jianchuan. After returning home, old Master Shen locked himself in the fish pond again. However, this time, Shen Jianchuan told Mu Qiqi not to worry. "Your grandfather will only think about how to bring down the Song family now. He won't take things too hard. Don't worry. Song Jiang will definitely get his retribution. Dad, believe me," Mu Qiqi said as she grabbed Shen Jianchuan's arm. "You've been tired for 2 days. Let's go home. 8th brother Sheng is quite tired from taking care of you. Be more considerate of your husband." "Okay." Mu Qiqi nodded. She turned around and walked to the Shen family's door before returning to the banyan courtyard with Sheng Zhao. The Lu family was gone. Now the Song family's only enemy was the Shen family. She did not know what kind of move that bastard Song Jiang had in store for him to attack her. However, Mu Qiqi was not afraid. Even if she was pregnant, she was still a brave pregnant woman. After thinking it through, Mu Qiqi no longer hesitated. She went to the living room to share what had happened in Luohai with Mama Sheng and Papa Sheng. When she returned to her room, Sheng Xiao was taking a bath alone in the bathtub. Mu Qiqi quietly walked over and leaned against his bathtub. She asked him, "Are you tired? I have to deal with Huang Yao's matters later. You sleep first." Sheng Xiao opened his eyes and said to Mu Qiqi, "Bring third brother back to manage Huang Yao. You have a team anyway. You just need someone in charge. You're already tired enough dealing with Zhongting's matters. You still have to take care of me. Dad said that I'm not a good wife, and that I've troubled you." Sheng Xiao got up from the bathtub. Mu Qiqi immediately handed him a towel and wrapped it around the man's narrow waist. "Why don't I manage Huang Yao for you?" Mu Qiqi leaned forward and asked for his opinion. "Huang Yao isn't that short of people." Sheng Xiao dragged her out of the bathroom. "Go to sleep. But if you delay any longer, I'll only sleep even later." Mu Qiqi did not dare to make a sound. She watched as he entered the study. She could not help him at all, and even caused trouble every day. Therefore Mu Qiqi obediently went to bed to sleep. Sheng Xiao saw her turn off the lights outside the door, and slowly curled his lips. Although dealing with business was very tedious, sometimes he would take out the cufflinks she made and look at them. Sometimes he would take out the bookmarks she made and look at them. It was actually not that torturous. When did Sheng Xiao become such a family-oriented person? This thing was really magical. However, on the third day after they returned to Jianchuan, old Madame Lu sent a letter. Old Master Lu's grave had been pried open, and his ashes were scattered everywhere. When the old lady saw it, she went crazy. Was there a need to think about whose masterpiece this was? Chapter 926. Shen Jianchuan did not dare to tell the old man about this. He only sent someone to appease the old lady. Song Jiang would definitely pay 1,000 times the price for today's arrogance. When the old lady heard this, she endured the pain. Even if she had to endure it, she had to endure it until that day came. After settling the matters of the Lu family, Shen Jianchuan put on his glasses and leisurely went to Zhongting's building. "Dad." When Sheng Xiao saw him, he immediately asked his secretary to brew tea. There's no need to be so polite between father and son. Shen Jianchuan waved his hand and did not bother about trifles at all. "I came here today to listen to your specific plan." Sheng Xiao got up from his desk and walked to the leisure area of the office. He sat down in front of Shen Jianchuan, and in front of the two of them was a black and white Roman chessboard. To destroy the Song family, the first aspect is to make the Song family lose their financial support. In recent years, the Song family's main source of income has been the financial industry and the education industry. This is the biggest bargaining chip that allows Song Jiang to do whatever he wants and buy people's hearts. So, the Song family's money isn't as clean as it looks on the surface. Shen Jianchuan held his chin and thought. "Take off the clean veil. Are you afraid that you won't be able to see what's underneath?" Sheng Zhao's voice was very calm, but he was confident of victory. "You're the expert at making money. You have the final say on how to plan. What about the other side?" Shen Jianchuan asked again, as he played with the Roman chessboard in front of him. "Dig up the old case from 25 years ago and expose the identity of the Song family. Since we want to take revenge for what happened 25 years ago, then we'll blow up the truth and expose him to the light. At that time, I don't believe that anyone would dare to openly collude with him. That's a secret." Shen Jianchuan looked at Sheng Xiao. "Are you sure you want to take such a risk? Everything has risks. The more arrogant Song Jiang is, the more flaws he will reveal. We just need to calm down and follow the plan step by step. Elder Lu's wife can be the best start for this matter." Elder Lu was dead. He was forced to die, and was even retaliated against after his death. Indeed, the Song family could be brought out when a loyal soldier was treated like this. In the past few days, I've asked Zhongting's team to make a report on the education industry. I've selected a few education brands that are very worthy of support. I plan to secretly support them and deal a heavy blow to Yashang Group. But it's not convenient for me to walk around for this matter. I understand what you mean. I can find someone to take care of this matter in private and slowly lay out the plan. Shen Jianchuan nodded. Yashang Group is coming in aggressively and has indeed impacted the local education brand. Your method is right. As for the financial industry, The Song family does trust and supervision, and the team is abroad. But I've heard a lot of rumors about the Song family's financial situation. In less than 5 years, it will definitely collapse. Sheng Xiao continued. So, cutting off the development of the Song family's education industry is equivalent to making the Song family's plane lose its left wing. How will the Song family make up for the loss of balance? Sheng Xiao was setting up a big picture. He didn't want to make a small fuss, but he wanted to make sure that the Song family had no chance to make a comeback. This required everyone to be extremely patient, but once they succeeded, it would be the end of the Song clan. He could endure it. Shen Jianchuan knew Xing Zhao's temper very well. As his son-in-law, once he set his sights on an enemy, no matter how long it took, even if it took years, he could endure it. In the end, he would defeat the enemy with one strike. Then what do you think of Song Boji? This person doesn't like his father's style. He has no hatred for the Shen family, only the desire to conquer. Sheng Xiao answered very concisely. He doesn't care about the methods used to do things. He's very talented in business and very patient. Then let's see who can endure more. Xiaoqi will soon be 4 months pregnant. You can decide for yourself whether you need to let her know about these things or not. Shen Jianchuan put the Roman chess piece back to its original position. Eighth brother, I know you're doing all this for Xiaoqi. The Shen family owes you a lot. She's my lifelong responsibility. Sheng Xiao only had this answer. Although he was very patient, he did not want to waste a lot of time on his enemies, especially that scumbag from the Song family, who was still coveting his cheer. Therefore, he had to think of a foolproof way to get rid of the weeds at the roots. The late elder Lu was humiliated, and Song Jiang was in a good mood. Song Boji's attack instantly swept away Song Jiang's previous dissatisfaction with him. His son was still as ruthless as ever. Sheng Kai was preparing for his marriage with Song Qiaoji. Although it wasn't a big deal, he still had to move and decorate the wedding house. Song Jiang was in a good mood, and couldn't help but care about his godson and daughter's preparations. The news has been out for so long. Has the Sheng family come to look for you? No. Sheng Kai shook his head and answered. I'm no longer a member of the Sheng family. Even if they look for me, I won't meet them. Akai, Godfather believes in you, so you can meet them as you please in the future. Song Jiang smiled and patted Sheng Kai's shoulder. After you and Qiaoji get married, you'll be my son-in-law. As a father, how can I not believe in my son? Thank you, Godfather. Hurry up and get married. I still have big things waiting for you to do. Song Jiang hinted at Sheng Kai. Don't let me down. It's my honor to help Godfather. Speaking of doubts, Akai, I have one now. Help me answer it. The Shen family must know that old Lu's ashes were scattered. Based on your understanding of Sheng Xiao, what kind of counterattack do you think he will give? Song Jiang asked Sheng Kai. No, it should be said that he was testing Sheng Kai. Sheng Kai thought for a moment and then replied. Based on my understanding of Sheng Xiao, he will remember this matter. Godfather, don't underestimate his patience. He must be thinking of a way to deal with us. Song Jiang nodded. Then how do you think he will deal with us? Godfather, I might not be able to predict or judge this. Song Jiang glanced at Sheng Kai with a complicated expression. In the end he sighed. All right then. We can only see as we go. This person is famous for being difficult to deal with. If you can help me take him down, Akai, I can do anything for you. Let Sheng Kai deal with Sheng Xiao. Watch the brothers kill each other? Song Qiaoji stood at the side. She felt more and more disgusted with her father's face. I'll do my best. Sheng Kai did not refuse because he had no other choice. Song Jiang wanted to see them fight. He wanted to see the reaction of the Sheng family. He had no way to escape. You're really my good son. Soon Sheng Kai sent Song Jiang away. Song Qiaoji looked at Sheng Kai worriedly. Why don't we run away? Chapter 927. Meeting each other again after a year of Elder Lu's matter. The two brothers' hearts were too complicated. However, since this was old Master Sheng's wish, Sheng Xiao would do it no matter what. Therefore, the two of them agreed to meet at the seaside. Sheng Kai drove alone while Sheng Xiao brought Su Che with him. The two brothers leaned against the car by the seaside, and did not say a word for a long time. After a long while, Sheng Xiao said, Song Jiang is still monitoring you. Unless he hears the news of your death one day, he will never truly trust me from the bottom of his heart. Sheng Kai tilted his head and lit a cigarette against the wind. Tell me, why did you ask to meet me? It's not that I want to see you, it's the old man. Then forget it. Sheng Kai sneered and exhaled smoke from his nose. It's too late to say anything. I was also involved in the Liu family's matter. I also had a part in forcing old man Liu to his death. My life is now linked to the Song family. Eighth brother. We'll meet on the battlefield in the future. Sheng Xiao did not say anything, but he frowned. Song Jiang asked me to deal with you, so I'll spare no effort. With your ability, you don't have to take my schemes seriously. Since there's nothing else, I'll leave first. You know that I'm going to get remarried. With that, Sheng Kai threw away the cigarette, and opened the door of his car again. After he got in, Sheng Xiao asked, Why are you doing this? You're extremely smart, CEO Sheng. There's no way you can't guess what I'm doing this for. There's only one person in my life. I'll give everything to protect her. With that, Sheng Kai closed the car door. Of course, Sheng Xiao couldn't chase after him, so he returned to the car. However, from Sheng Kai's words he got some information. First of all, Song Jiang had asked Sheng Kai to deal with the Sheng family and him. Secondly, Sheng Kai was really doing this for a woman, for Song Qiaoji. It seemed like they were going to fight each other in the future. No one knew when it started, but Jianchuan had become more and more complicated. Every day a storm was brewing. Although Mu Qiqi didn't know Sheng Xiao and her father's plan, nor did she know that Sheng Kai had met Sheng Kai, for some reason, she felt that Sheng Xiao had become gloomier than before. Although he usually didn't talk much at home, when she was free, Mu Qiqi would play music at home for prenatal education. However, when she saw Sheng Kai and Song Qiaoji's marriage, she couldn't help but take out her phone and look for the man in the study. Is it okay to let them go just like that? Do you think you can stop it? Sheng Xiao asked as he looked at Mu Qiqi. What if he tries to deal with you in the future? This thing, her premonition was really accurate. She could even guess this kind of thing. He can't deal with me, Sheng Xiao answered without hesitation. Then he pushed Mu Qiqi and said, Focus on your prenatal education. Mu Qiqi got down from Sheng Xiao's lap and revealed her slightly protruding belly. You should say hello to your son too. I'll call again tonight. When Mu Qiqi heard that, she immediately felt that there was a double meaning in Sheng Xiao's words. I'm serious. I want you to talk to the child. When have I not been serious? Mu Qiqi was speechless. She left the study with her belly puffed out. It wasn't easy for this man to accompany her to rest for a day, but he only knew how to stay in the study and do his own things. Baby, be good. Your father ignores you. I love you. Sheng Xiao looked at her as she left and curled his lips. This thing. In the evening, Shen Jianchuan called. The best candidate to support the education industry had been found. In addition to the most professional planning team, the education industry would take on a new look in less than half a year. This was a chess move. The old lady of the Liu family should have arrived in Jianchuan by now. Sheng Xiao would arrange a meeting at another time. Thinking of this, Sheng Xiao put down the documents in his hand and got up to go to the living room. He saw Mu Qiqi sleeping on the sofa with music playing, revealing her slightly protruding belly. Sheng Xiao sat down beside her, helped her pull down her skirt, and turned off the music. How could such a noisy song be called prenatal education? When Mama Sheng came back from shopping, she immediately said to Sheng Xiao, Carry your wife back to your room. Don't show off your love in front of a middle-aged man like me. Xiaoqi, you're really lucky. When I was pregnant with you, I didn't have a good day. In this regard, you're better than your father. Sheng Xiao looked a little smug, especially when he saw Mu Qiqi sleeping soundly. At the very least, after this thing was pregnant, he would dote on her. However, I heard from a few friends outside that second brother is going to marry the young lady of the Song family. Is that true? Yes. Sheng Xiao nodded lightly. I don't know what he's thinking. No matter how much he hates his family, he shouldn't have done such a rebellious thing. Mom, I'll carry Qi back to my room first. Sheng Xiao didn't want to talk about the Song family or Sheng Kai at home. Go. Be careful. Not long after nightfall, Jianchuan became much cooler because of the night breeze. Sheng Kai drove back to his apartment from Changrong Electronics, but he saw Gu Xiling downstairs. She was blocking his door with an unclear expression on her face. Sheng Kai didn't know what she meant. Kai, I know you were forced to marry Song Qiaoji. You don't really like her, do you? Are you still dreaming now that things have come to this? Sheng Kai asked her directly. I hope you know that we're already divorced. There's no point in continuing to pester her. But no one wants me. Who wants me now? If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? Sheng Kai controlled his emotions and asked her again. Gu Xiling, I hope you understand that everything has changed now. Your grandfather pushed me into this quagmire, and I can't get out. So don't come looking for me again. I don't want to see you either. Kai, Gu Xiling pulled him up. At that moment, Song Qiaoji walked out of the elevator. Seeing this, she was stunned. Did I come back at the wrong time? Let's go home. After moving these, the apartment will be sold. Sheng Kai quietly broke free from Gu Xiling's grip and whispered to Song Qiaoji. Miss Gu, can you stop pestering my husband? Song Qiaoji's tone was very rude to Gu Xiling. Everyone has to look forward. You know what the Song family does. If you still want to live, don't come again. I can't guarantee that my temper will still be this good next time. With that, the two of them opened the door and entered the room. Gu Xiling leaned against the door and slid down. Her heart was filled with unwillingness, but she was afraid of death. Very afraid of death. She couldn't afford to pester the Song family, so she could only admit defeat. In the room, Sheng Kai held Song Qiaoji's hand and said, I'm sorry. I didn't know she would appear. Chapter 928. Sheng Kai looked at Song Qiaoji's gentle face and felt as if he was truly alive. So he suddenly hugged her tightly and said, Why couldn't I have met you earlier? It's not too late to meet you now. Song Qiaoji comforted him. Anyway, as long as we're both alive, we'll be together. Sheng Kai nodded vigorously and hugged Song Qiaoji even tighter. The two of them packed up the apartment and prepared to move into their new home. Sheng Kai knew very well that from now on, he would only fight for Song Qiaoji. This was his family, and there was someone he wanted to protect until he died. However, not long after the two of them returned home, Sheng Kai received a call from Song Jiang. Kai, I received news from Luo Hai that the old lady from the Lu family suddenly disappeared. She was taken away by the Shen family. I don't want to cause any trouble. Help Godfather think of a way to get rid of that old lady. Make it clean. What kind of trouble can an old lady cause? You do it. I have my reasons. Song Jiang was very dissatisfied with Sheng Kai's question. Wait for my news. I'll give you 3 days. Kai, give me an answer. Song Jiang wasn't someone who was easy to fool. How long would he have to wait for an answer? When would the Shen family make a move? Therefore, he directly gave Sheng Kai a time limit. 3 days. Sheng Kai had no choice. His voice was almost choked with sobs. Okay, I understand. Song Qiaoji was by his side and listened to the entire conversation between him and Song Jiang. This was Song Jiang, forcing people to their deaths. He wants you to kill someone. Song Qiaoji held Sheng Kai's face and said, You can't do this. Let me do it. Why would a woman want to kill someone? Be obedient. I'll take care of things. Sheng Kai's eyes were red. This is snatching someone from Sheng Xiao. I'm confident. Don't worry. Kai, Song Qiaoji said with a sobbing tone. No, I really don't. I don't want you to fall deeper and deeper. But I'm a man. I have to protect you. With that, Sheng Kai kissed Song Qiaoji's lips. You said just now that as long as we live, we'll be together. Song Qiaoji felt her heart ache. Her previous fiancé had disappeared in front of her eyes just like that. She did not want Sheng Kai to follow in his footsteps. She did not want him to. She was going crazy. The two of them tore at each other's clothes and felt each other's existence fiercely. It was not until Song Qiaoji fainted that Sheng Kai hugged her and fell asleep. Every time Song Jiang gave him a mission, it was as if he was sentenced to death. He didn't know if he could survive one trial after another, so he could only try his best to give Song Qiaoji happiness while he was still alive. The next morning, when Song Qiaoji woke up, Sheng Kai had already gone to Luo Hai. Song Qiaoji didn't know why he wanted to go to Luo Hai, but she thought about it for a long time in their new house before making such a decision. She was going to look for Mu Qiqi. Because traveling during the day would attract too much attention, Song Qiaoji waited until late at night before sneaking to the previous hospital. She found Feng Shanshan's phone number from the medical records. She called Feng Shanshan. Mu Qiqi received a call from Feng Shanshan late at night. She thought that something had happened to Feng Shanshan and the child, so she sat up from the bed and said anxiously, "What happened?" "I'm fine. It's not me. It's someone you wouldn't expect. She's with me now and wants to see you. She wants to see if you're willing." "Who?" Mu Qiqi really couldn't think of anyone who would look for her through Feng Shanshan. "Song Qiaoji. She said she's here for Sheng Kai's matter. She wants to see you. She almost knelt down for me just now." Mu Qiqi glanced at the man beside her and said, "What did she say she's here for?" "I'm not very sure about the old lady of the Lu family." Sheng Xiao understood what Song Qiaoji was trying to say, so he said to Mu Qiqi, "I'll go down to see her." "I'll go with you. Don't try to hide it from me. Besides, Song Qiaoji is here for me." Mu Qiqi quickly grabbed the man's arm and said, "I'm not afraid of any tricks. You and Captain Tang are here." Sheng Xiao took a deep breath, then took some clothes from the clothes rack and handed them to Mu Qiqi. It only took the two of them about 10 minutes to reach Feng Shanshan's house from the banyan courtyard. In the living room, Song Qiaoji was wearing black sportswear and a hat, as if to deceive others. When she saw Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao, she immediately rushed over. "I beg you, CEO Sheng, I beg you, save Akai. Get up first. What happened?" Mu Qiqi was confused. She knew that Sheng Kai had become the Song family's son-in-law, but she didn't understand Song Qiaoji's actions. Song Qiaoji's tears fell like rain. It took her a lot of effort to control her emotions. She sat back on the sofa and said in a choked voice, "Last night, my father called Sheng Kai and asked Akai to deal with the old lady of the Lu family. He received news that the old lady had left Luo Hai. He didn't want to cause any more trouble, so he asked Akai to deal with it and make the old lady disappear forever. I don't want Akai to be stained with blood. He really doesn't want to. But if he doesn't do this, my father will definitely think of a way to make him disappear. So I can only beg you." Mu Qiqi didn't know that old Madame Lu had come to Jinshuan, but Sheng Xiao did. However, Song Jiang had actually asked Sheng Kai to deal with the aftermath of this matter. It was his negligence. "Akai didn't voluntarily join my father. He was pushed down by Gu Ziling's grandfather. He originally had a chance to leave my father, but I was the one who dragged him down. That's why he rejected CEO Sheng's help. CEO Sheng, I beg you, please help Akai. He only has 3 days." Song Qiaoji was crying a mess. She was on the verge of breaking down. There are only 2 days left. He went to Luo Hai early this morning, and there's still no news of him. After Sheng Xiao heard this, he gestured for Mu Qiqi to calm Song Qiaoji down. Then he took out his phone and called Su Che. "Do something for me immediately. CEO, go ahead." On the other end of the line, Su Che was trying his best to sober up. Sheng Kai went to Luo Hai. He probably wants to kidnap a few sons of the Lu family to threaten the old lady. Take Sheng Kai down and bring him back to Jinshuan. You don't have to give him any reason. I'll leave immediately after I pack up. Su Che answered Sheng Xiao over the phone. After hanging up, Sheng Xiao looked down at Song Qiaoji. He stayed in the Song family for you. What about you? Can you abandon the Song family for her? I stayed in the Song family not because of blood relations. I just want to find evidence of the father and son's crimes. Song Qiaoji raised her teary eyes and answered, I'm Song Zhang's daughter. I'm someone who can get close to the evidence. Chapter 929. Song Qiaoji buried her head between her knees and cried out loud. It was as if the pain of losing her fiancé had engulfed her entire body again. As long as you can get Kai away from my father, CEO Sheng, I'll cooperate with whatever arrangements you make. I really can't take it anymore. I don't want him to suffer anymore. The Song family isn't a place for people to stay. Please. Mu Qiqi looked at the woman's emotional breakdown. She believed that Song Qiaoji really cared about Sheng Kai. That was why she took the risk for him and went straight to the enemy. If you really want Sheng Kai to be well, then don't go back to the Song family. Otherwise, he'll go back sooner or later. Mu Qiqi's heart ached a little. You can still return to the right path. Can we really? Can we still? Mu Qiqi raised her head and looked at her man. If the Sheng family brazenly kidnapped Sheng Kai this time, it would be equivalent to officially declaring war on the Song family. As long as Sheng Kai's stand was firm, the Song family would not be able to control him. If you still want him to live well, leaving the Song family is the only way. As long as you're not in the Song family's territory, as long as you're still in Jianchuan, I can guarantee your safety. I don't care about anything now. I just want Kai to be safe. To hell with the evidence and blood ties. Whether it was treason or betrayal, she only wanted Sheng Kai now. Before Su Che finds Sheng Kai, go back first. Don't reveal any flaws. Otherwise, if Song Jiang notices, he'll be on guard. When Su Che finds Sheng Kai, I'll send someone to pick you up as soon as possible. Sheng Xiao instructed Song Qiaoji seriously. You have to be patient tonight. Stop crying. I want to cry too. Mu Qiqi was extremely touched. She thought about how Gu Xiling often humiliated Sheng Kai and pointed fingers at him. Compared to Song Qiaoji, she finally understood why Sheng Kai was willing to stay in the Song family. They truly loved each other. For Kai's sake, I'll definitely be patient. I'll wait for your news. After saying this, Song Qiaoji put on her hat again and wiped away her tears. I'll go back first. I've been out for too long. In the living room, the two pregnant women looked at each other. At this moment, Feng Shanshan raised her question. That kidnapping was to help me, right? Yes, but I didn't know that middle-aged woman was a human trafficker. It's okay. That's enough. Feng Shanshan smiled. Go back and wait for the news. Song Qiaoji nodded at them, turned around, and left in a hurry. Mu Qiqi looked at her back as she left and sighed. She and Sheng Kai are true friends in times of adversity. I can feel that she loves Sheng Kai very much. That kind of heart-wrenching love is not something that can be acted out. I hope the results are good, Feng Shanshan said as she touched her 6-month-old abdomen. After all, Song Qiaoji had saved her life. Master Xiao, let's go back. Tell me what happened to the old lady of the Lu family. Sheng Xiao looked down at Mu Qiqi. Seeing that she was still in her pajamas, he immediately picked her up. Rest first. Do you think I can sleep tonight? Mu Qiqi struggled in his arms. Thinking about your second brother, his life is really full of troubles. However, after this training, I believe that he will definitely be able to change his appearance in the future. With a woman who loves him like this, he will definitely become better. At this moment, Sheng Xiao only wanted to sew up this thing's chattering mouth with a needle. He only hoped that Su Che would do his best as soon as possible. By the time Song Qiaoji returned home, it was already 11 o'clock at night. After entering the living room, Song Qiaoji took off her hat and turned on the lights. She saw her brother, Song Buozhi, sitting on the sofa with a profound look on his face. Brother? When did you come? You scared me. She tried her best to remain calm. Song Buozhi looked at her outfit with a mocking smile. It's so late. Where did you go? Don't tell me you went for a night run. Akai isn't here. I feel a little bored, so I went out for a walk. Song Qiaoji sat down beside Song Buozhi. Why? Can't I? Do you think father will believe me if I tell him the same thing? Song Buozhi asked as he played with his chin. Song Qiaoji's expression immediately changed. She slid down from the sofa and knelt in front of Song Buozhi. Brother, can you not tell father? So you admit that you didn't go for a walk. I went to the Sheng family for help, but they didn't want to see me, Song Qiaoji said half-truthfully. I know that you have a deep hatred for the Sheng family, just like father. I don't beg you to let me go, but I beg you to let Akai go. After saying that, Song Qiaoji climbed to the coffee table, picked up the fruit knife, and placed it on her neck. I can die for him. What are you nervous about? Song Buozhi said lightly. I'm not interested in your life, and I'm not interested in Sheng Kai's life either. In your heart, am I someone who will tell on you at any time? Song Qiaoji did not dare to relax. Her tears slid down the fruit knife. I won't make things difficult for you. But don't make things difficult for me either. Go and apologize to father tomorrow. I believe he won't do anything to you. She might as well die now, Song Qiaoji thought. But she couldn't let go of Sheng Kai. All right, put down the dangerous thing. I promise you that I won't tell father. It's just for love. I understand. No matter how Song Buozhi tried to persuade her, Song Qiaoji refused to put down the fruit knife in her hand. When Song Buozhi saw this, he rolled his eyes. In your heart, I'm such a heartless person? Why are you going to the Sheng family? You're a member of the Song family. How can the Sheng family see you? Be good, put down the knife. Brother, don't force me. Not only did Song Qiaoji not relax, but she also pressed the knife closer to her neck. It looks like you're going to die today. Fine, I'll go. I'll go, okay? Song Buozhi got up from the sofa and raised his hands in surrender. Your personality is really like mine. Why else would you say that we're siblings? Song Qiaoji sneered. This person had never acknowledged her identity, so she would not lose her mind just because of Song Buozhi's words. She was very clear-headed. However, Song Buozhi really did not take the next step. He directly left her in Sheng Kai's new house. However, from the way Song Buozhi casually entered, it could be seen that even if it was her in Sheng Kai's house, there was no room for them to speak here. Therefore, even after Song Buozhi left, she did not put down the fruit knife. She did not dare. She was afraid that once she relaxed, she would be doomed. Young master, do we need to tell Mr. Song about this? The driver asked Song Buozhi. Chapter 930. Sheng Kai really wanted to use the three sons of the Lu family to force the old lady of the Lu family to submit. But after following them for a day, he found that the second and third sons were working in different places to earn money. Could it be that he had really turned over a new leaf? The third son of the Lu family had lost one of his hands when he was flirting with a girl, so he could not resist. So he was Sheng Kai's target. However, after following her for a day, the kindness on her face touched his heart, but he had no other choice. In the middle of the night, he found two helpers and found out where third young master Lu lived. It was a shabby rental house, which was easy to rob. After all, he only had 3 days. After kidnapping her, he still had to make a deal with Sheng Xiao and meet the old lady of the Lu family. However, when he entered the apartment, he heard a child crying. After the three of them turned over a new leaf, they brought their children home to be raised. Therefore, there was still a crying child waiting to be fed in third young master Lu's home. Seeing this, Sheng Kai could only keep smoking to ease the guilt in his heart. The third son of the Lu family came out of the restaurant at 11 o'clock in the evening. When he got home, it was 11:30. However, before he could open the door, he was stopped by two men. You, what are you doing? Third young master Lu looked at the two of them and asked nervously, You, do you want money? I'll give it all to you. With that, he took out the money he earned today from his trouser pocket. That's all. Please, I'm a disabled person, I don't have much money. This was the first time Sheng Kai was really involved in a crime case. So, he could only smoke to relieve the depression in his heart. They were here to take the hostage, but Sheng Kai did not give them any orders. The two helpers turned around in confusion and asked in a low voice, Should we tie them up? Please, I still have a child at home to raise. If I'm kidnapped, no one will take care of my child. Third young master Lu knelt down in front of the three of them. This third young master Lu, who lived off his parents, was a world of difference. Sheng Kai still did not say anything. After taking the last puff of his cigarette, he extinguished it and said, Let him go. The two helpers were ready to take action, but they received such an order from Sheng Kai? The two of them frowned in confusion. Let him go. Sheng Kai couldn't do it. He couldn't trade other people's lives for his own safety. He could only go back and let Song Jiang deal with him. There was no other way. When third young master Lu saw this, he quickly stood up and was about to run away. However, the masked man suddenly appeared and knocked Sheng Kai unconscious. He carried him on his shoulder and said to the two hired men, You're not needed here. Go. Their sugar daddy was already tied up. What was the point of keeping him around? The two helpers dropped the rope and ran. As for the young master of the Liu family, he was sitting on the steps in shock. Su Che glanced at him and said indifferently, "Go back. It's best if you move." The young master of the Liu family immediately got up, ran back to his rented house, and locked the door. Su Che carried the man and got into the car. He immediately replied to Sheng Xiao that they had been intercepted. In fact, he had been watching the show from the side for a while. He bet that Sheng Kai couldn't do it. Sure enough, it was just as he expected. A member of the Sheng family was a member of the Sheng family. Unlike the Song family who were born with the genes of crime, Sheng Kai did not want to kill at all. Then he tied Sheng Kai up, got into the car, and drove back to Jianchuan overnight. When Sheng Xiao received the news, he immediately arranged for someone to pick up Song Qiaoji. Song Qiaoji was in a state of shock all day. The fruit knife stained with her blood was always by her side. She knew very well that if Song Jiang didn't let her leave, she would end her life here. She definitely wouldn't become a stumbling block to Sheng Kai's departure. Before she made a big mistake, she wanted to save Sheng Kai. She couldn't let Sheng Kai do anything stupid for her. However, she didn't see Song Jiang that day. She thought that Song Buozhi would definitely tell on her when he returned, but she didn't expect him to really let her live. In the middle of the night, Song Qiaoji was still sitting on the sofa when the phone screen beside her suddenly lit up. She immediately opened it and saw that Feng Shanshan had sent her a text message. "The car that will pick you up has already set off. Pack your things, and we'll take you away in 20 minutes. At that moment, Song Qiaoji almost cried because this meant that Sheng Xiao had stopped Sheng Kai from making a mistake. Even if she died immediately, she would feel that it was worth it. Thinking of this, she didn't feel that she had anything else worth taking away, so she immediately set off and left the new house. Everything went smoothly, but the car was stopped by Song Jiang at the door before it could leave the parking lot. Song Jiang brought two subordinates and opened Song Qiaoji's car door. He said to her, "Miss, please." Song Qiaoji held the steering wheel and didn't move because there was a fruit knife beside her. She was thinking about whether she should make a move, but once she did, she would never be able to go back. Song Jiang saw his daughter's complicated expression and quickly said, "Qiaoji, what are you doing? Dad, please let me go." Song Qiaoji sat in the car and cried, "Let me leave. You're a member of the Song family. Where do you want to go? To find Sheng Kai?" Song Jiang frowned and pointed at her. "Let me tell you, even if you die, your corpse will belong to the Song family. It has nothing to do with the Sheng family. I'm guessing you've been waiting downstairs. You installed a surveillance camera in Mayanakai's new house?" Song Qiaoji sneered. "I'm doing it for your own good." "For my own good." Song Qiaoji laughed mournfully. Then, she grabbed the fruit knife on the passenger seat and stabbed it at the hands of the two men. Seeing that the two men had stopped, she immediately closed the car door and reversed the car to escape. Chase after her. Song Jiang's face was gloomy and his tone was fierce. He had actually been betrayed by his own daughter. Song Qiaoji had actually dared to betray him. Song Qiaoji drove frantically toward the other exit, but Song Jiang had already sent people to intercept her. When Song Qiaoji saw this, her heart had already died. She rushed forward without a care and crashed into the body of a black car. "Capture her for me." Song Jiang was so angry that he was confused. Now that he had caught her, he had to put righteousness before family and break this woman's neck. However, just as the two men were about to pull Song Qiaoji out of the car, Sheng Zhao's men arrived. 7 or 8 strong men got out of the two cars. They surrounded Song Qiaoji's car and said to Song Jiang, who was standing at the side, "This is the person we want. This is my daughter. But your daughter doesn't want to go with you." The man in the suit asked someone to help Song Qiaoji out of the car and put her in his car. When Song Jiang saw this, his expression turned extremely ugly. Chapter 931. The law. Aren't you the law yourself? With that, the 7 or 8 men returned to the car and took Song Qiaoji away in front of Song Jiang. Song Jiang was flustered and exasperated when he saw this. He had never thought that Song Qiaoji would dare to betray him. She would betray her biological father for a man. It's okay. There's still a long way to go. Sooner or later, I'll deal with that adulterous couple. How dare they betray me? Because of the car crash, Song Qiaoji was half awake. She looked at the person beside her and saw that it wasn't Song Jiang's people. She finally relaxed her tense nerves and fainted. Did this count as an escape? Did she? On the other side, Su Che was driving Sheng Kai back to Jianchuan. However, halfway through, Sheng Kai opened his eyes. Seeing that his hands and feet were tied up, he quickly said, "Sheng Xiao asked you to come? Let me go. Since you can't do such a ruthless thing, why must you stay by Song Jiang's side?" Su Che asked Sheng Kai. "Don't waste your energy. The president has instructed me to send you directly back to Jianchuan and the Sheng family." When Sheng Kai heard this, he immediately thought of Song Qiaoji. "No, I have to go save someone. Don't waste your energy. I won't let you go." With that, Su Che sped up. Because it was not convenient to go to the hospital, Sheng Xiao temporarily settled Song Qiaoji at Tang Yan's house. Before dawn, he found a family doctor to check on her body. Although she had crashed into the car, it was not a big deal. It was just that because she had been nervous for a day and night, Song Qiaoji slept very soundly. The next morning, Mu Qiqi went down to see her. Seeing that she was still asleep, she did not disturb her. However, when she saw the obvious scratches on her neck, she suddenly felt her determination. She's a ruthless person. When Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan saw the direction of her wound, they knew that it was caused by herself. Thinking about it, she had also experienced a lot of mental pressure and trauma during the past day and night. I don't know if Su Che will be able to successfully bring them here. Feng Shanshan and Mu Qiqi sat by the bed and chatted when they saw Song Qiaoji suddenly sit up on the bed and call Sheng Kai's name. "You're safe. Sheng Kai is on his way back. Don't worry." Mu Qiqi immediately grabbed Song Qiaoji's hand and comforted her. "Don't be afraid." After hearing Mu Qiqi's words, Song Qiaoji was in a daze. It took her a long time to react before she hugged her knees and started crying. "I thought I would die there. I held the fruit knife and didn't dare to put it down for a moment. Don't go back to the Song family in the future. Stay in the Sheng family. This is your new beginning." However, Song Qiaoji wasn't that optimistic. She looked at Mu Qiqi with tears in her eyes and asked, "Is your family really willing to accept me? I am the daughter of the Song family. I am the daughter of my enemy. You underestimate the Shen family and the Sheng family. As long as you are sincere about Sheng Kai, no one will care about your background." Mu Qiqi blinked at her. "Even a rebellious person like me, who has a seniority gap with Xiao Xiao, is together with him. What are you guys doing? Really?" Hope appeared in Song Qiaoji's eyes. "I don't want anything. I just want to be with Akai. Go back to sleep. When you wake up, I promise that Sheng Kai will have returned to your side." Mu Qiqi helped her lie down. "You don't look good right now." Song Qiaoji lay down obediently and closed her eyes. There were still sparkling tears on her long eyelashes. Then the two of them left the room. Feng Shanshan looked at Mu Qiqi and leaned against her arm. "Do you really believe that she won't hurt the Sheng family for the Song family?" "I believe that the Song family doesn't have the heart to tolerate others, but the Sheng family does," Mu Qiqi answered straightforwardly. "Aren't you afraid that this is a trap set by Song Jiang? When the time comes, Song Qiaoji and Sheng Kai will betray you together. What are you afraid of?" Mu Qiqi asked Feng Shanshan in return. "If they betray the Sheng family, then they will no longer have a place to hide in this life, and they will never be able to live a peaceful and happy life again. If they are willing to bet their entire life's happiness, what can't we afford to lose? Besides, even if they betray us, it won't hurt our hearts. At most, old Master Sheng will feel worse." Mu Qiqi shrugged indifferently. "More importantly, I believe that Xiao Xiao has better arrangements. The last sentence is the reason why you're at ease, right?" Feng Shanshan couldn't help but despise her. This person was showing off her love more and more, without regard for the occasion. "It's good that you know." The two pregnant women laughed. Mu Qiqi finished breakfast at Feng Shanshan's house. She had thought that it would take some time for Su Che to bring Sheng Kai over. However, just as the sky brightened, Su Che had already driven the car outside the villa. Then, with Tang Yan's help, the two of them brought Sheng Kai into the living room and let him sit on the sofa. Because Sheng Xiao was not around, Tang Yan, who did not go out, became the one to guide him. You should go home. I'm going to save her. You don't understand how important she is to me. Sheng Kai struggled. The skin on his wrist was already broken. If you bring Song Qiaoji over, will you be willing to leave the Song family? Tang Yan put down his teacup and asked him. Wherever she is, I'll be there. In other words, if Song Qiaoji was unwilling to leave the Song family, then he would continue to stay in the Song family to protect her. I don't want to leave her alone. Song Jiang could take her life at any time. I can't sit back and do nothing. You're stubborn. Tang Yan looked at Sheng Kai coldly. You probably don't want to live anymore. Maybe. I also think I'm crazy. In fact, Song Qiaoji had been at the door the whole time. She had been listening to the conversation between Sheng Kai and Tang Yan. After hearing it, she burst into tears. Perhaps hearing the sound, Sheng Kai turned his head and saw a familiar figure through the crack in the door. He stood up excitedly, but because his hands and feet were tied, he really couldn't go over. When Tang Yan saw this, he untied the rope on Sheng Kai's body. Then he saw a figure running in. Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan also walked out of another room with their arms crossed. I didn't expect you to do such a thing. Because Tang Yan was used to being alone in the past, he was not very sociable, and did not seem to have the concept of family and friends. However, after Feng Shanshan and Mu Qiqi had been together for a long time, Tang Yan gradually gained human warmth. Everyone has the beauty of helping others, Tang Yan replied as he placed the rope on the table. All right, it's time to go to work. Feng Shanshan adjusted his collar and said, You don't have to worry about this. Su Che is outside protecting you. Nothing will happen. Okay. Tang Yan took the opportunity to kiss Feng Shanshan's forehead before leaving the house. Chapter 932. In the room, Song Qiaoji was already in tears. She instantly threw herself into Sheng Kai's arms. You're still alive, you're still alive. I'm fine. I'm fine. Sheng Kai hugged Song Qiaoji tightly. I thought I'd never see you again. I even thought about going back to the Song family to kneel down and save you. Even if I die, I'll die with you. Akai, I was wrong. Song Qiaoji broke free from his arms and looked at him with tears in her eyes. I was too selfish. I shouldn't have left you in the Song family. We should have asked for help earlier. That way, Song Jiang wouldn't have forced you to kill people. I was wrong. Sheng Kai hugged her and sat on the bed, wiping away her tears. I don't regret it. I said that I would protect you like a man. I don't want to. I want you to live. I want you to live well. Song Qiaoji interrupted him and reached out to hold his face. She instantly kissed him. I love you, Akai. The two of them kissed and hugged each other. After a while, they reluctantly let go of each other. Let me take a good look at you. Why would Godfather let you go? Sheng Kai saw the wound on Song Qiaoji's neck. Did they do it? Did they? It was me. Song Qiaoji quickly shook her head. It was Sheng Xiao who helped me escape. The next day after you left, I went to ask for help. I begged Mu Qiqi and the others to save you. I could do anything. Why are you so stupid? Sheng Kai's eyes were red. Can you live with me in the Sheng family from now on? I know it must be hard for you to forget your fiancé's hatred, but I really don't want you to go back and take risks. Let's start over. Don't worry about hatred anymore, okay? Song Qiaoji nodded with tears in her eyes and hugged Sheng Kai again. I'll listen to you. I don't care about anything else. I just want you to live. The two of them confided in each other in the room. The two women outside the door sighed repeatedly. They really didn't expect Sheng Kai to fall in love. How good was that? Song Jiang had to commit evil. Let's go. Make some space for the two of us. It'll be easier. Mu Qiqi held Feng Shanshan's hand and said, Let's have some tea in the garden. I'll also go and visit Su Che. He went on a mission in the middle of the night and hasn't slept yet. Feng Shanshan also looked at Mu Qiqi with an ambiguous smile. Hearing the sound of the door closing, Sheng Kai hugged Song Qiaoji again and kissed her hard. I feel like I'm dreaming. I really never thought that one day you would be willing to leave the Song family with me and return to the Sheng family to live. Silly you let me know that people have to look forward. I'm willing to be with you. I'm Song Qiaoji. A Chong Hua Chong Sheng Sheng Xiao Sheng and Chong. He said. Sheng He Xiao and Kan Xiao Hua. Song Su. Xiao said. Song Qiaoji felt as if her soul had left her body, but she also knew that she was at Tang Yan's house. She immediately felt a little embarrassed. Akai, why don't you wait for us to get home? I can't wait any longer. After saying that, Sheng Kai's hand had already reached into her pants and touched the cotton underwear. The two of them frantically demanded each other in the room, as if they wanted to swallow each other whole. Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan drank tea outside the door. It was not convenient for them to enter the living room that day. Song Jiang was furious that his daughter and son-in-law had run away. He really did not expect Song Qiaoji to have such courage. She seemed to have forgotten that the blood of the Song family flowed in her body. Song Buoji sat at the side expressionless. For a moment, he felt that Song Qiaoji had the guts to actually do something like betrayal. Alright, old man. You forced Sheng Kai into a corner in this matter. After that, you didn't control Song Qiaoji well. It's no wonder that others want to rebel. You directly asked Sheng Kai to kill people. How could he be willing? You still think he's your son-in-law. No one would treat their son-in-law like this. You're still making sarcastic remarks. You already knew that your sister had the intention to betray us. Why didn't you say anything? Song Jiang slammed the table angrily. Great. That B***starred couple has escaped to the Sheng family. They're in Sheng Zhao's territory. What do you want me to do? They don't know much. Even if they did, they wouldn't be able to produce any evidence. What do you have to worry about? Song Buoji asked impatiently. You forced them away. Now you're blaming me? This is too infuriating. I can't take this lying down. Song Jiang sat down on the chair. I can't let those two live. Alright, old man. If you have the ability, go and find trouble with the Sheng family. Don't forget, this is the Sheng family's territory. If you want to touch the Sheng family, Sheng Xiao will be the first to object. Bear with it. There'll be a chance in the future. No. Song Jiang competed with himself. I'll think of a way to teach that B***starred couple a lesson. Song Buoji shrugged. Up to you. I have many daughters. Do you think that just because one of them left, it'll be a blow to me? Dream on. He didn't think in that direction at all because Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao wanted to help Sheng Kai and Song Qiaoji, a couple of lovers, who was thinking about their hatred. They really thought too highly of themselves. In the evening, the two of them, who had been together for the whole day, finally woke up from the bed in the room. Sheng Kai got up first and prepared to go out to see what was going on. Today, he had indulged himself for the whole day and hadn't gone out yet. He wanted to properly greet Mu Qiqi and the others. Song Qiaoji propped herself up and was a little uneasy. Where are you going? I'm going to see eighth brother. You go back to sleep. Song Qiaoji nodded. The two brothers must have a lot to talk about, so she didn't want to disturb them. More importantly, she was afraid that the Sheng family would have doubts and opinions about her. As if sensing her uneasiness, Sheng Kai quickly comforted her. Don't think too much about it. Eighth brother, and the others aren't like that. I know. Sheng Kai nodded, packed his clothes and walked out of the room. At that moment, he saw Sheng Xiao sitting in the living room. In fact, Mu Qiqi and the others were still there just now. However, they were now barbecuing outside. Eighth brother. Sheng Xiao leaned against the sofa, waiting for Sheng Kai to come out and say a few words. Let's not talk about anything else. After dinner, we'll go straight back to the Sheng family. Grandpa, will he still accept me? And Xiaoji, why do you think there's blood relations in this world? Because only family can do it. No matter what you've done wrong, the door will be open to welcome you. The old man already knows. You should be prepared. After saying this, Sheng Xiao got up from the sofa. Eighth brother, thank you. Chapter 933. Don't think about such nonsense in the future. Live a good life. With that, Sheng Xiao walked out of the room. When Sheng Kai heard this, he felt a lump in his throat. Some words were stuck in his heart, and he couldn't say them no matter what. The oven had been set up in the yard. Sheng Kai opened the door and walked out. When he saw the scene, he felt even more uncomfortable. Although Mu Qiqi's feelings were a little complicated, she felt very gratified to see Sheng Kai's awareness. She said, "Where's Dr. Song? She hasn't eaten anything all day. Isn't she hungry?" Sheng Xiao sat at the side and drank his coffee. He chatted with Tang Yan. Su Che had become a barbecue chef, and 2 pregnant women were fighting for meat beside him. How good would such a scene be? Sheng Kai's heart surged. He immediately returned to his room and looked for his lover. "Qiaoji, get up." Song Qiaoji crawled out of the blanket, feeling a little embarrassed. Isn't it a little embarrassing? Making a mess in someone else's house. It's okay. Sheng Kai helped her put on her clothes and ruffled her hair. They won't mind. When we get back to the Sheng family, we'll freshen up and rest. I know you've been frightened these 2 days. Song Qiaoji blushed as she put on her shoes and followed behind Sheng Kai. As Mu Qiqi held the kebab, she looked at Song Qiaoji, who was behind Sheng Kai. She thought to herself, this world is really strange. When I first met this doctor, why didn't I think that we would have such fate today? Are you two okay with eating barbecue? When Song Qiaoji saw this scene, her occupational disease immediately flared up. It's fine. These things have been processed by the nutritionist at home. It won't affect you much if you eat them occasionally. Mu Qiqi took a bite, and did not forget to praise Fifth Aunt. You should be hungry too. After hearing this, Song Qiaoji's face turned even redder. You hang out with us, and let the men cool off on the side. Knowing that she had a grudge, Mu Qiqi took the initiative to pull her away from Sheng Kai. Song Qiaoji turned to look at Sheng Kai, but he could only sit down pitifully beside Sheng Xiao. Since I'm back, I'll completely forget about the Song family. Sheng Xiao sipped his coffee as he glanced at the person beside him. He was the younger brother, but he was acting like an older brother. Even if I want to cooperate with Officer Tang, I don't have any evidence. Sheng Kai crossed his arms and placed them on his legs. He looked a little unnatural. The higher-ups are in charge. I'm just a criminal police officer. Tang Yan answered calmly as he scrolled through his phone. There were all kinds of alcohol in front of the 3 of them. But because Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan were pregnant, Tang Yan and Sheng Xiao did not touch them. When Sheng Kai saw that, he opened a bottle of red wine. I need time to forget. Not far away, Song Qiaoji turned to look at the 3 men from time to time, because she was afraid that Sheng Xiao would interrogate Sheng Kai. Seeing the tense atmosphere, she walked over and said, "Don't ask him. I'm Song Zhang's daughter. I know more. As their daughter, you might not know as much as they do." Sheng Kai pulled her to sit down beside him. "I just don't want you to continue to be caught in a dilemma in this matter. You're thinking too much. They just want me to forget. I'm the one who can't get over it." It turned out that she had misunderstood. When Sheng Kai saw this, he pushed her up again. "Go eat something. We'll go to the Sheng family later." Song Qiaoji nodded, and returned to the middle of Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan. "I told you. You don't have to worry, right?" Mu Qiqi smiled and said, "Second sister-in-law, you're a professional. You definitely know whether the child in Shanshan's stomach is a boy or a girl. Then you can be a witness. I bet with Shanshan that the child in her stomach is a girl." Song Qiaoji was stunned for a moment. She was so choked up by the word second sister-in-law that she couldn't speak. In order not to let you lose, you'd better choose another gender. This time, it was Mu Qiqi's turn to be stunned. "Ha ha ha, isn't that a boy? Captain Tang, you have a son." In fact, the reason why Mu Qiqi wanted to eat this barbecue was to ease Sheng Kai and Song Qiaoji's nervousness. After going through such an urgent life-and-death ordeal, she had to meet the serious old man again. She was afraid that both sides would say something hurtful and irreparable. She was also giving old Sheng some time to recover. After all, if he wanted his grandson to come home, he had to accept the daughter of the Song family. If he had a grudge in his heart, then there might be another tragedy in the future. It's good to have a son. In the future, he can protect his mother with me. Suddenly Tang Yan, who was usually unsmiling, showed off his affection to the four of them. Are you sure it's not because you like his son more? Feng Shanshan narrowed her eyes and asked. Of course not. Mu Qiqi was unconvinced. She thought to herself that she had never let Song Qiaoji see her. Moreover, she had not been pregnant for long. She opened her mouth and asked the man who was drinking coffee. Master Xiao, do you like a son or a daughter? A daughter, Sheng Xiao replied. Reason? Have a male to compete for favor? Mu Qiqi immediately laughed. You win. Sheng Kai was also very embarrassed when the topic of childbirth was brought up. After all, he had been found out, and might not be able to have children. Song Qiaoji saw through his thoughts. She walked to his side and whispered in his ear. Don't worry, I have a way to cure you. Sheng Kai nodded slightly. Sheng Kai took the opportunity to look at his watch. Unknowingly, it was already 9 o'clock in the night. It's getting late. It's time to go. Sheng Kai held Song Qiaoji's hand and nodded. I understand. Thank you for the past 2 days. Song Qiaoji and Sheng Kai stood up and thanked them. I hope that you can take care of us in the future. If second brother bullies you, call us. Mu Qiqi made a dialing gesture. Okay. Song Qiaoji's eyes couldn't help but turn red again. Su Che, send them back to the Sheng family. After Sheng Xiao enslaved Su Che, he instructed him to be his driver. Don't worry, CEO. Su Che remained calm. The reason why he needed Su Che was because his skills were enough to ensure their safety. As for the Sheng family and the old man, Sheng Kai would have to face them himself. Mu Qiqi watched the two of them leave, and returned to Sheng Zhao's side to sit down. She thought that the Song family should be going crazy with anger. But it didn't matter. It was good that they were back. Xiao Xiao, I'm afraid these two have to be especially careful when they go out in the future. The Song family won't let them off so easily. We'll talk about it when the time comes, Sheng Xiao said lightly. You should go home and sleep. Have you already planned it? Sheng Xiao did not answer. He just carried her in his arms. On the other side, Sheng Kai was very nervous, but he knew that if he showed any signs of panic, Song Qiaoji would not know what to do, so he held Song Qiaoji's hand tightly. Don't be afraid. Chapter 934. After Su Che heard this, he wanted to complain in his heart. That was before he was taught a lesson by his young madam. I did something wrong. I'll apologize to him. Don't worry. If he wants to hit me or scold me, it's up to him. But I won't let him hurt you. In reality, the old man at home was already waiting anxiously. No matter how great the hatred was, it couldn't compare to the safety of a family. Old Master Sheng knew his physical condition very well. To be able to see his grandson home, he already had no regrets in his life. How could he ask for more? Soon, the black Bentley drove into the Sheng family's house. It was already late at night, but every light in the Sheng family's house was still warm. Sheng Kai's eyes almost turned red when he saw this familiar house. Second young master, go in. Old Master Sheng is still waiting inside. Seeing that Sheng Kai had not moved for a long time, Su Che quickly reminded him. Sheng Kai turned his head and held Song Qiaoji's hand. He mustered up all his courage and walked towards the Sheng family's door. Sheng Xiao was right. No matter what he did outside, the only people who could forgive and tolerate him were his family. Grandpa was angry. At most, he would just beat him up, but he would never force him to kill or set fire to the house. But Song Jiang was different. The white wooden door was gently pushed open by Sheng Kai. Then, he saw an old man with a walking stick standing at the entrance with a complicated expression on his face. Sheng Kai knew that he had let the old man down. He took 3 steps forward and knelt down heavily in front of the old man. When Song Qiaoji saw this, she also knelt down. Grandpa. Only Sheng Kai himself knew how heavy the word grandpa was. He had left the family he used to hate, but after he left, he was only used and devoured by his enemies. You've lost weight, and you've become darker, but you're more energetic and mature. The old man wanted to bend down with his walking stick, but he couldn't even do such a small movement. Get up. It's good that you're back. No, Grandpa. I'm a sinner of the Sheng family. I'm in the wrong. No matter how wrong you are, you're still my grandson. As a grandfather, how can I feel good hearing you make mistakes outside? Grandpa Sheng was a little choked up. Do you know what I was thinking when eighth brother said you were coming back? Even if I die, my eyes are clear. Even if I die immediately, I can explain to your grandmother in the underworld. So it's good that you're back. Don't worry about whether it's right or wrong. Just live a good life in the future. Grandpa Sheng threw away his walking stick, bent down slightly, and finally patted Sheng Kai's shoulder as he wished. Sheng Kai originally thought that he would feel better if Grandpa Sheng could hit and scold him. But Grandpa Sheng did nothing and easily forgave him. So as a man, he couldn't hold back his emotions and cried out in front of his grandfather and his wife. In the future, I won't be willful anymore, Grandpa. That's good. Both grandfather and grandson's eyes reddened. Get up, get up. However, Sheng Kai still did not get up. He looked at the woman beside him and said to Grandpa Sheng, Grandpa, this is Qiaoji. Although she's from the Song family, she saved me and helped me. I hope Grandpa can accept her and not make things difficult for her. Eighth brother has already told me about this matter. You young people should deal with your own matters. I can't care about it now. Qiaoji, thank you, Grandpa. After Song Qiaoji heard this, she quickly kowtowed. Thank you, Grandpa. I will be filial to you with Akai. You're all good children. Get up. We'll talk about other things tomorrow. Now go back to your room and rest. Take a good shower. Tomorrow, I want to see my former high-spirited grandson. Sheng Kai held Song Qiaoji's hand, stood up, and bowed to Grandpa Sheng again. Thank you, Grandpa. Grandpa Sheng waved his hand and gestured for the two of them to quickly wash up. Sheng Kai turned around with Song Qiaoji and returned to his old room. Nothing here had changed. The room was still there, which meant that Grandpa Sheng had never really been angry with him. However, when he thought of what he had done wrong, Sheng Kai felt very ashamed. Song Qiaoji looked around Sheng Kai's room. It was as if she could see how heroic the second young master of the Sheng family was. Staying with her in the Song family was a fatal blow to him. Sheng Kai took out a shirt from the closet and handed it to Song Qiaoji. He looked very apologetic. Wear my shirt to sleep tonight. Tomorrow we'll buy some clothes for you. From now on, you'll be the ugly daughter-in-law of the Sheng family. Song Qiaoji felt like she was dreaming, so she pinched herself hard. What I said to your grandfather just now was from the bottom of my heart. From now on, I will be filial to him with you. I believe in you. With that, Sheng Kai hugged Song Qiaoji tightly. We will forget the past. We definitely will. The next morning, just as dawn broke, Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao arrived at the Sheng family's house with Song Qiaoji's clothes. When old Master Sheng saw Mu Qiqi, he pouted. You're pregnant, but why do you work and rest like an old man? Don't you need to sleep? It's not even dawn yet. What are you doing here? Mu Qiqi knew that he was concerned, but he didn't mean what he said. She rolled her eyes at him. I'm bringing clothes to your granddaughter-in-law. She can't possibly not have a change of clothes, can she? How can the Sheng family lack clothes to wear? The old man snorted. Mu Qiqi didn't reply. His grandson was back, and he was in a good mood, yet he was still bickering. When Sheng Xiao saw this, he said to the old man calmly, although second brother is back, he hasn't completely severed ties with the Song family. He is still the legal representative of Chongrong Electronics. In order to prevent the Song family from getting hold of him in the future, he still has to deal with the matter of Chongrong. Will the Song family let him off so easily? The old man was a little worried. The Song family doesn't want to let him off, but they can't do anything to him. This is all thanks to Song Jiang not trusting him enough and not letting him know about the confidential matters. It's not enough to cause the Song family to kill him. However, there are exceptions to everything. In short, second brother should try not to go out or bring enough bodyguards. After all, the Song family doesn't like traitors. Why don't we let second brother go abroad to avoid the limelight like third brother? The old man suggested. Guns aren't banned abroad. Mu Qiqi reminded old Master Sheng. Alright, don't worry about it. We'll think of a way to settle this matter. Song Jiang really couldn't do anything to Sheng Kai because he wouldn't expose himself for an insignificant person, right? Sheng Xiao was right. This was all because Sheng Kai didn't come into contact with the Song family's secrets. That was why Song Jiang didn't need to waste his energy to silence him. Chapter 935. The reason why he could control Sheng Kai back then was because of Sheng Kai's hatred for the Sheng family and Sheng Xiao. But now that the misunderstanding between Sheng Kai and the Sheng family had been resolved, it was impossible for Sheng Kai to stay in the Song family and be used. More importantly, he had kidnapped one of his daughters. Sheng Kai could go back, but Song Qiaoji had to die. By the time Sheng Kai woke up, Sheng Xiao and Song Qiaoji had already left. Sheng Kai felt extremely satisfied to be able to wake up from his big bed. Looking at his beautiful wife beside him, Sheng Kai felt that he had nothing else to ask for in this life. Mu Qiqi brought clothes over. This surprised Sheng Kai, but he also felt the couple's thoughtfulness. Song Qiaoji picked up one of the black dresses and tried it on. The size was exactly the same. Sheng Kai was admiring his wife's beautiful body when he was interrupted by a call from Changrong. When he saw the secretary's number, Sheng Kai immediately had a bad feeling. However, he did not hesitate and directly reached out to answer the call. Hello. CEO Sheng, save me. I've been kidnapped. I'm locked in a small house that doesn't see the light of day. Save me. Before Sheng Kai could speak, he heard a very calm and evil voice on the other end of the line. Great trader CEO Sheng, how are you? Do you know where this is? Do you know that your secretary is about to leave a suicide note and leave this world forever? Just like the previous employees? This is all because of you, because of Song Qiaoji. If you don't want to make a big deal out of this, and don't want innocent people to take the blame for you, then send Song Qiaoji back to Master Song's side. The Song family is where she belongs. I'll give you 3 minutes to think about it. If you refuse, just wait to collect your secretary's corpse. When Sheng Kai heard this, he felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. After putting down the phone, he looked at Song Qiaoji, wanting to say something but hesitating. Song Qiaoji had just finished trying on the dress. When she saw Sheng Kai's expression in the mirror, she knew that something must have happened again. What's wrong? Did my father threaten you again? It's fine. Sheng Kai hugged Song Qiaoji in his arms. Then he made up his mind and said, I won't admit defeat this time. I'll call eighth brother. I believe he has a way. What exactly is it? Don't worry about it. Just promise me that you'll stay by my side forever. Sheng Kai hugged Song Qiaoji and refused to let go. Promise me first, Qiaoji. If you're not by my side, then there's no point in living. Song Qiaoji's body trembled when she heard this. In the end, she still nodded. I promise you, because she could feel how uneasy Sheng Kai was at that very moment. After getting Song Qiaoji's answer, Sheng Kai immediately dialed Sheng Zhao's number and walked out of the bedroom with his phone. Eighth brother, I've been threatened. The Song family threatened me. If I can't make a decision to send Qiaoji back within 3 minutes, they'll hurt my secretary and forge a suicide note, just like every employee who died in Changrong. On the other hand, Sheng Xiao was much calmer in his office. He didn't even bother to frown and just said he wouldn't dare. Old eighth? Song Jiang wouldn't create a murder case for Song Qiaoji because he knows very well how much attention Bai Sini's case has attracted. He wouldn't want to be targeted by the police. You guys aren't powerful enough. Sheng Xiao calmly analyzed the reason for him. But it's very likely that they'll cripple my secretary, or my secretary's family, or leave them half dead. It was one thing for him to be crippled, but Sheng Kai didn't want to implicate others. Sheng Xiao was silent for 2 seconds. Finally, he answered Sheng Kai. Promise him first. I'll go negotiate with him. Old eighth, do you have a chance of winning? We'll only know after we talk. Sheng Xiao couldn't give him an accurate answer right now. If this matter isn't resolved as soon as possible, he'll change his mind in the future and use 10,000 similar methods to threaten you. When that time comes, you'll never have a day of peace. Tell me the way to settle this once and for all. I'll do whatever it takes. Sheng Xiao told Sheng Kai the truth. Some things weren't that optimistic. There's no way to settle this once and for all, but I can make him forget about your existence. However, you have to get through this first. Even so, Sheng Kai still felt hope. As long as I don't have to hand over Qiaoji, I'm willing to go all out. You have to pay a price to kidnap someone's daughter. Sheng Xiao smiled gently. 3 minutes are almost up. Sheng Xiao gave Sheng Kai a few more instructions over the phone. After that, the two of them hung up. The other party immediately called back. Are you asking for help, President Sheng? Are you calling the police? Or is it Sheng Xiao? Let my secretary go. I'll agree to your conditions. I won't let her go before I see Mississippi. You should understand, right? The other party laughed. Besides, you agreed too quickly. It makes me feel insecure. Then what exactly do you want? I'll send someone to pick up Mississippi. She came out of the Sheng family alone. I don't want to be schemed against by Sheng Xiao. President Sheng, a life is at stake. I believe you won't object, right? Besides, Song Qiaoji is a member of the Song family. It's only right that Mr. Song wants his daughter back. You don't have to suffer too much. Mr. Song won't mistreat his daughter. When Sheng Kai heard this, his left hand clenched tightly into a fist. At this moment, he was deeply angry at his own incompetence. Song Qiaoji had already heard the phone call between Sheng Kai and the other party from behind the door. In fact, she was already mentally prepared. Even if Song Jiang could let Sheng Kai go, he would never let her go. Yesterday was the happiest day of her life. She was already satisfied. At least, she had a beautiful dream. And this dream was given to her by Sheng Kai. In the dream, she had a happy family and a husband who loved her as much as his life. But reality was so cruel. She didn't want to make things difficult for Sheng Kai, nor did she want to implicate innocent people. So when Sheng Kai hung up the phone, she immediately went forward and hugged Sheng Kai's waist. Send me back. Don't feel sorry. At least we had it. Qiaoji, believe me. I will never give up on you unless I trade my life for it. After Song Qiaoji heard this, she covered his lips. I want you to live. Live well. I believe in eighth brother, so I ask you to believe in him too. He will definitely be able to turn the tide. With that, Sheng Kai held Song Qiaoji's hand and went to Sheng Bowen's room to look for a set of jewelry. It was the one that Mu Qiqi had given to Ren Yufei. It had a GPS system in it. These were the last few words Sheng Xiao said on the phone. What are you looking for? Chapter 936. Ren Yufei did not bring it with her. After all, she and Sheng Bowen were going abroad, so there was no need for her to bring jewelry. Sheng Kai heaved a sigh of relief when he saw it in Ren Yufei's jewelry box. Whose is this? Song Qiaoji felt a little uneasy when she saw Sheng Kai holding it in his hand. Sheng Kai handed it to her and said, There's a small positioning system in this. It can track you. No matter where you are, I can find you. Put it on first. I'll connect it to the positioning system immediately. Song Qiaoji looked at the small jewelry with a complicated expression. You still refuse to give up? I won't give up, and I hope you won't give up either. Sheng Kai hugged Song Qiaoji tightly. Didn't we agree this morning? Without you, I don't know how to go on. Song Qiaoji leaned into Sheng Kai's arms and finally nodded. I'll always wear it. Song Jiang asked me to send you out, and they'll let my secretary go. I don't want to implicate anyone, and I believe you're the same. However, no matter where you're taken, you have to remember that I'll always be behind you. At most, we'll die together. When Song Qiaoji heard Sheng Kai's words, her throat immediately burned. Kai, I can die without regrets to be able to meet you in this life. I don't want you to die. I want us both to live. Having said that, Sheng Kai pinched her chin and kissed her madly. Don't be afraid. Remember what I said. Even if we die, we will die together. Soon Song Jiang's men called Sheng Kai again. Their tone was still evil. Second young master Sheng, how long do you want to dawdle? Your little assistant is in the bathtub and can barely breathe. Are you sure you want to continue wasting each other's time? However, this time, Sheng Kai turned on the speakerphone. He took Song Qiaoji's phone and turned on the recording function. If I send Qiaoji out, how can I be sure that you'll let my secretary go? Sheng Kai asked. If I can't see the secretary, I won't send Qiaoji out. You still want to negotiate with me? The other party looked incredulous. I only want a prostitute. Why would I want your lousy secretary? No, since we're making a deal, we have to look like a deal. Otherwise we'll perish together. Anyway, without Qiaoji, I don't want to live alone. The man was confused by Sheng Kai's firm tone. He frowned. Do you want to see your secretary's body right away? Then, on the other side of the phone, the secretary screamed. Second young Master Sheng, I advise you not to anger me. I don't like negotiating with others. Either hand over the young miss, or collect your little secretary's corpse. Bicini's cases were also handled by you, weren't they? Those young girls didn't commit suicide, right? Sheng Kai suddenly changed the topic and brought up the previous murder case. Do you know how likely it is that you will attract the attention of the police when you commit the crime today? Do you really think the police can't catch you? If you work so hard for Song Jiang, will he care about your life or death? That's none of your business. Hand her over immediately. I'll have your secretary call you back within 5 minutes after I pick up the young lady. With that, the man hung up the phone. Sheng Kai had also successfully recorded the conversation between him and the kidnappers and sent the recording to Sheng Xiao. Alright, Akai, it's time for me to go. After he was done, Song Qiaoji cupped his face and said, Be careful. When you go out, I'll drive behind you. I believe in you. With that, Song Qiaoji tiptoed and tried her best to kiss his lips. She didn't know if she would live or die, but Song Qiaoji was really satisfied. Having last night was already her greatest happiness. She wouldn't ask for more. I'll send you out. The two of them walked out of the room hand in hand and appeared in front of the old man. The old man was in a good mood. He wanted to chat with the two of them for a while, but seeing that they were in a hurry to leave, he didn't force them. He only asked, Are you coming back to have lunch with me? When Sheng Kai heard this, he felt his throat burn. After a few seconds, he smiled and said, We'll come back to have dinner with you. That's fine. Let's go out on a date. The old man didn't mind. He had no idea that once the two of them went out, they might be separated by life and death. The two of them didn't look at old Master Sheng and walked out of the Sheng family's door. Not far away, a black car honked at the two of them. They must be from the Song family. Sheng Kai held Song Qiaoji's shoulder and seriously said to her, Remember what I said. You must remember it well. I got it. I'm leaving, Akai. Song Qiaoji hugged him tightly. I love you. Sheng Kai watched as she got into the other party's car. Soon, the car left Sheng Kai's line of sight. At this time, Sheng Kai immediately took out his phone and located Song Qiaoji's route of departure. However, he didn't move. He was controlling his urge to chase after her immediately. Time ticked by. On Sheng Kai's side, only 5 minutes had passed. Then he dialed the other party's number. Let go of my secretary. When I'm sure no one is following, miss, I'll naturally let go of your secretary. You said 5 minutes. All I said was, get your secretary to call you in 5 minutes. With that, the other party handed the phone to Sheng Kai's secretary. CEO, I'm sorry. Are you all right? Sheng Kai tried his best to suppress the anger in his heart and asked the secretary. I'm fine. Don't worry. However, before Sheng Kai could say anything else, the other party snatched the phone from the secretary's hand. Since you've left the Song family, you're no longer a member of the Song family. Everything in the Song family has nothing to do with you, including Mrs. Life and Death. With that, the other party hung up. Sheng Kai immediately turned on the GPS and chased after Song Qiaoji according to the route she had taken. Eighth brother, everything depends on you. He had to chase after Song Qiaoji because he had promised her that even if he died, the two of them would die together. This time, he would not go back on his word. As for Sheng Xiao, he had already prepared the bargaining chips and had Su Che contact the Song family. When Song Jiang heard that Sheng Xiao was going to visit them personally, he found it quite interesting. A young man in his early 30s was challenging the entire Song family. He also wanted to know what kind of ability Sheng Xiao had to save Song Qiaoji from his hands. Therefore, he agreed to meet Sheng Xiao. The people from both sides agreed to meet at a restaurant at the dock. Since it was a negotiation, they had to have the attitude of a negotiation. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.